Good evening, everyone. We're having a camera issue, but it will be fixed soon. How are you doing, Eves? We're starting on time today, but let me make sure. I don't know what's going on with this. Just wanted to make sure we started. Oh, there we go. Good evening, everyone.
Camera's working.
We're having a
Audio's
camera
okay,
issue,
it seems.
but it will be fixed soon.
How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to the King Leo Show. What's up, J Boss? What's up, Eves? We had some last minute lead rescheduling, so we might get to Fishback, which I want to do. But we have to cover mostly, let me just rearrange this here if you guys don't mind. This is pretty crazy, actually. This is pretty wild what Elon Musk has done today. And the Daily Wire is part of this as well. This is very important to cover. And I'm not sure it's great. How you doing, Robbie? What's up, sir? I've never had an Instagram account grow faster than Alex's, sir. I really thank you for the suggestion, man. I was like, why Instagram? Dude, it's so much fun. It's so much. I don't even argue with him on Instagram because I'm on Facebook. Also, we have a great submission from Crustpunk. Shout out to Crustpunk. He found me on Facebook with Alex, the mechanic, obviously. And he hit me up on Messenger and sent me some great shit that we might get to today, if not tomorrow. But we have to talk about Elon Musk, who, as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a huge fan of Elon Musk personally. I know we have some fans. And he did something today that, I don't know. Robbie says, you got to block that 77 Spider 77 guy. Who is that? On what? Is that on Instagram? I'll check that out. Okay. All right. We'll do that. But let's get in because I do want to get to some calls, especially because we've talked about this. We've got a lot of calls when we talk about racism, which is a hot topic. So let's just get into the show, man. I'm excited to cover this, although I don't know exactly what it means. We're going to find out together. Let's start with Schizo Watch. All right. To start here, I want to start with one of the worst people in the world. You guys know how I feel about him. Where is this? This is right here. Chamath. Let's check in on Chamath. We just checked in on him yesterday. He had some more bullshit to say today. Can you believe it? Yesterday he saw the politics of Israel. And now he saw the, see, can you even imagine? And I know some of you are like, oh, King Leo, if he's going to be a regular on the show, you should make him a title. I'm not making a title guard for this douchebag. This guy is too stupid. He does not deserve a PBD title card. He does not deserve anything. Bill Maher needs a title card. This guy doesn't. Let's see what he had to say here to Axios. Robbie, I talked to Gemini about that. It says it's not a good idea to block even those types. We'll get into that later. But yes, thank you, sir. I have some of those on Facebook too. Let's see Chamath here.
Oh, he's really inspiring. I mean, I have to say, here's the thing with him that in my limited interactions with him, but
he's talking about Donald Trump.
He's really curious. He's really smart. His intuition is off the charts. I'll tell you a very specific example. I had a meeting with him. I had a deck. I had like a complicated.
What were you pitching him?
It's not a pitch. I was just like walking him through like some structural issues, explaining. In this specific case, it was like data centers and electricity rates, and the underlying reasons why electricity prices are going up, which have more to do with the business model of the utilities, have very little to actually do with data centers, water consumption, and then some structural ways to, decrease Americans' electricity, right? It's like a 15-page deck. And he's one of these guys where he's listening, he'll scan it, he's scanning it while he's talking to you, he listens to you, and then he goes right to the one thing. And I have a lot of respect for this because like I've seen some of the most incredible like survivors, like the people that have really thrived over decades, they have that one skill. They can like go in and go, that thing, that little detail, that thread, and pull it. So my experience with him is like, it's quite impressive. When I anchor him to the other people in business that I've interacted with, he's really up there.
What the hell are you talking about, Chamath? Can you imagine? We have this scammer in the White House. The White House has a bunch of scammers here giving Chamath. Chamath is here explaining to the president not just how data centers work. He's also explaining to him why electricity prices are a certain way. Honestly, Chamath should be in charge of the Department of Education. Get Vince McMahon's wife out of there. He's going in there and telling the president, first of all, I mean, do you catch the condescension here? Which is, this is the fascinating thing about someone like Chamath, is that Chamath is saying that he is the smartest guy in the world, actually, because he has taught so many people great things. In his time crashing instant messenger at AOL, in his time doing nothing at Facebook, despite what he claims, in his time erasing consumer gains through SPACs, he's going to sit there and run President Trump through how data centers work. This is the guy who's here for the job.
Shut up, man. Man, listen. You ain't got to say.
This is, and he's saying, he's my best student, actually. President Trump is my greatest student. He's actually claiming credit implicitly for anything that President Trump does that's good. I want to make him claim credit for things that are bad, too. If he's your best, but no, he's your student, right? So he can't do anything bad. A student can only do good things when you teach them good. If they do something bad, it's not your fault. He's actually, Chamath is the mentor to President Trump, actually. I'm actually surprised even more so. I wonder what Trump is doing. I don't even believe this story. I think he's full of shit. You believe that Chamath, you believe that President Trump goes, I need to learn about these data centers. Who do we call? Do we call David Sachs or Jeff Bezos or what about Chamath Palahapitiya? Well, let's call it Chamath. I don't think that happens. I don't think that actually I don't think Chamath shows up to the White House in his gay little cardigan and stands up in front of the president, unless he's doing a Kevin O'Leary thing where he's pretending he's not Canadian. This is a huge problem. I really noticed it with Jim Carrey in the first Trump term. He was drawing all this out-of-pocket shit about Trump being like Mussolini and all this. And I was like, you're not even from here. Why are you doing this? You're Canadian. It's annoying because they don't have an accent. I mean, they have an accent, obviously, but they're not French Canadian. It's Canadians that these people. Do you know how Ryan Gosling speaks with an American accent? Because he trained himself to sound like Marlon Brando as a kid because he said he didn't want to sound Canadian because it didn't sound cool. Canada breeds psychopathic English speakers like Chamath. That's what happens. These are strivers, social climbers. There is no way that President Trump is sitting through a presentation by Chamath, and Chamath is giving him resounding, you're doing so great, Mr. President. You're better than Zuckerberg when I was explaining everything to him. You're the smartest boy in the room. What is this, the shadow president? He's implying he's the shadow president. This sick freak is telling us that he's the one actually in charge. All of the credit, none of the blame. Thank you, Chamath, for your amazing ability to guide our country through this turbulent technological time. Does anyone believe what this guy has to say? I want, you know how much it costs to go watch Chamath and David Sachs and Jason go speak at the All In Summit? It costs like $10,000 a ticket. If you pay that, you deserve to be scammed. You deserve all of that, actually. You deserve worse. They should actually charge you $50,000, maybe even your whole net worth. You should mortgage your house to go there. Because this guy is I can't believe it. I can't believe the brazen lies that these people get away with. All of these tech people, they lie about everything. They are not forthright or honest about anything that they do in the world. And they're not even good wizards. Why is Chamath? Look at this. It's not just the gay cardigan. Look at how he's sitting here, man. Look at this. He's sitting. How are you doing this? I thought you became a Republican, Chamath. That's not how Republicans sit, right? That's how Adam Carolla, paging Adam Carolla, Chamath is sitting like a Democrat. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this Look at how disgusting this is. It's something. He's like JD Vance, but Canadian. He's the worst. He's the worst. This gay little cardigan, Laura Piana, and the soft voice. He talks like he works on NPR. Yeah, Chimoff, I'm sure you are Aristotle to Alexander the Great, which is President Trump, right? You're the Aristotle. That whole place, Silicon Valley, it's just, dude, it's a beautiful place. The people there are just the worst. All right, let's continue. I wanted to run us through this here just to see how amazing, how we're getting to the real issues with President Trump in office. We had, if you recall, we had a reform to the SNAP program, to the EBT program. For anyone that's not aware, that is the program where the government gives you money so that you can buy food. There are criticisms of it, but it's fine. You know, it's fine. People criticize it. I don't know. I'm sure it's bad. It's probably inflationary and stupid. And like anything in America, they can't just, nothing can be done direct to consumer from the government because that would be socialism. You can't send people like, I don't know, protein blocks. You have to give them this complicated web of an EBT card where they prove income, and it's always like, whatever. They reformed it because poor people are eating too much junk food. I actually agree with that. The thing is, though, why wouldn't you just ban the junk food altogether? Because that would be against the free market, because that would not allow for the pigs to eat at the trough. If pigs can't buy the red Avengers themed Oreo at Publix, then what is the point of America? George Washington died for your right to give yourself diabetes. And so now that they've banned this, now some people want to unban it. It seems doesn't even matter. This is what they're debating in our Congress right now. I'll remind you. Well, actually, I can't. Is there a war in Iran right now? I have no idea. Gas hasn't gone up, and there's supposed to be war going on. It's still $3.89, more expensive than before, but hasn't gone up to $4.39 like it was during the war. I don't know. And there's something going on in Iran we could be talking about. Ukraine is under attack by the Russian horde, and this is what let's see what they're talking about in Congress here.
Should SNAP dollars be spent on sodas?
The purpose of the SNAPs program is to provide families to have food and beverages.
Should it be spent on sugary sodas?
I am happy to talk about hunger and nutrition, but not dictate what Americans should or should not eat or may have access to.
I'm asking if tax dollars should be used to pay for sodas.
Taxpayers' money should be utilized to ensure that individuals have access to the food that they need to survive or may be accessible to them.
Do they need sugary sodas to survive?
Some of them do, who do have low blood issues, who may
have right?
Who have kidney issues.
You think they need Coca-Cola to survive? Do you think that's the most appropriate use of our tax dollars?
I am not a physician, but medical records and expertise
you were just citing the health needs,
do.
apparently, of the American people. So do the American people need Coca-Cola to survive?
I did not say that. I said then.
I'm asking you. I'm giving you the opportunity to say yes or no.
I will not answer for individuals and their choices.
You think that there are some Americans who need Coca-Cola to survive? Is that your testimony?
I am happy to talk about the food and nutrition
just don't
needs
know.
that individuals have.
You just don't know. I think most people can rationally say that you don't need Coca-Cola to survive.
Can someone make the Ben Shapiro edits where the blunt comes in and it plays da 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 da? Because he totally owned that lib.
Sensational.
Oh my God, he owned the libs by saying, and I will remind you that when Michael Bloomberg took the brave step of banning the 72-ounce Big Gulp, these pigs in the Republican Party, because we live in hell.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
What they decided to do was to tell him that we live in North Korea if you cannot access a 72-ounce drink. So someone, please, give him the blunt, thug life, Ben Shapiro. We're debating if it's, okay, she's a lib. All right, she wants people to have access to the free market, right? I'm sorry, where's the nanny state people, huh? I thought that we were against the nanny state. If poor people want to go give money to the Coca-Cola Corporation, who the hell are you to get in the way of that? This is what they're debating in the Congress. In the the lowest legislative body in the land, it's not the Senate. Thank God. This is what they're doing. I really, how can you watch this? How can you watch this and not, these people are wasting everyone's time. And I'm sure that those edits actually do exist. I'm sure people are saying, oh yeah, this is so based. He owned the lib. Who cares? Who cares? You know, if they were actually serious about helping poor people not eat bad, we would have free Ozempic tomorrow. But I'm sorry, I guess that's socialism, right? I guess that's socialism, so we can't do it. We can't do any of that. If you actually cared, that's what you would do. But because we live in Fallaheen hell in this country, that I'm sure the MAGA movement, like Jillian Michaels, says that Ozempic is evil because, I don't know, the demons will attack you if you take it. That would immediately lower the medical bills of the whole country. But you know what? You know what? This is great, actually. We should actually have the Congress debating if Coca-Cola is good or bad. This is actually, what is brave about it is I've never seen a Republican attack a big corporation like Coca-Cola before. I've never seen that. That is something of note. I guess that's new. But yeah, I mean, this is what's going on. If you wonder why, you know, things are getting worse, why the dollar's worth a little less every day, why gas is going up, why, just rest assured, the real issues are being debated in the Congress, which is if Coca-Cola is good or bad when poor people consume it. I just don't understand. This is what I don't understand, is that if it's bad, then why don't we ban it? And this is coming from someone who loves to smoke tobacco. You guys, I was 20 years old and they raised the age to 21 in this country and I had to run around like a little, and I was crying like Kyle Rittenhouse for a whole year. That's right, because these people took my cigarettes, my tobacco, they took everything from me at the age of 20. That was Trump that did that, actually. It was Trump. So if they can do that, why can't they ban Coca-Cola if that's bad? No, because no, that's the free market. The other one, listen, we believe in free markets selectively. Sometimes it's a free market, sometimes it's not. It can't be a free market when it's Coca. This is the conservative mind is are you trying to ameliorate the life of poor people? Clearly you're not, because if you were serious, you would make them go on Ozempic by force and give it to them for free. So you're not doing that. So what you're going to do is debate if Coca-Cola is good or bad. I'm glad you own the libs. It's just like 2016 all over again. Can someone send me a Ben Shapiro compilation? It's ridiculous. It honestly is ridiculous. I don't. Yeah, and then people will be like, oh, these socialists are winning in New York. This same party. Yeah, dude, you're arguing about Coca-Cola. The other people are saying, I want to steal stuff from rich people. That is so much cooler than arguing about Coca-Cola. Anyway. I had everything. How you doing, sir? Mamdani got the rent freeze. I was hoping the rent freeze and raise the property taxes. Maybe next year I'll get my wish. I didn't see that, but we're going to follow up with Mamdani, sir, because Ben Shapiro said some crazy shit about this DSA thing. And I see Forehead is here. And Iron Hammer, missed you, buddy. How you doing? Iron Hammer says they should be able to go to CVS and buy fentanyl with their food stamp. Dude, that's the thing about the nanny state. How am I not allowed to go buy? You ever go to Europe, you go to Mexico, you can buy whatever you want at the pharmacy. You can. But in this country, you can't, because I don't know why. You can't even buy cough syrup anymore because of the rap music videos. So they made, this country is No Child Left Behind. The whole country. It's lowest. Oh, you can't do that because otherwise you're going to become a retard. No, I'm not, actually. I'm not. I just want to buy some Adderall. Can I buy it? No, you can't. You have to go do the fucking song and dance with the doctor. This country is hell. This country, I thought this was America. I thought we were free to choose. Milton Friedman, he won a goddamn Nobel Prize, and I'm over here wasting my time having to. I hope they ban Coca-Cola. I really do. But these people do not have the stones to do anything, man. They don't. Joseph Stalin, if you can hear me, please save us. Joseph Stalin, if you can hear me, please save us. Anyway, and I see that Full Hat's here. Yeah, we're doing call-ins, Full Hat. Don't act surprised. It was in the title last time, and you didn't call in. You ran away. I had everything set.
Shut up. Be quiet before you get exiled.
I'm not even addressing that. Let's continue. Let's check in on one of our favorite Democrats, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, who always looks a little bit dirty in her ads. Let's look at this ad here that she made. She looks like Alex the Mechanic, actually. How excellent.
After working in our auto repair shop, I ran for Congress to fix things. Washington, D.C.'s a bigger clunker than even I realized. Everyone is running around with the engine light on and doing nothing about it. They're all getting rich at our expense. I stopped Congress from giving itself a pay raise. I'm fighting to ban members of Congress from trading stocks. And I've never taken a dime of corporate PAC money. I'm Marie Perez, and I approve this message to finally make Congress fix things for us.
Is Alex the Mechanic going to run for Congress? So I just, I didn't know that, I don't know if this is true. Do you think she looks like she worked in a repair? She could have worked at an auto repair. I don't know. At least she looks better. Last time we saw her, she looked really dirty. She was filming on her phone. Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. She's one of mine. This is my Hispanic sister over here. I gotta be there. Did you see that James Fishback chose a Latino as his running mate? You can't forget about that. That's all we got. Florida will be Spanish again. It's crazy. It's crazy. He did that. 3 Latinos working to get elected in Florida. Nick Fuentes, James Fishkamp, and I don't know the name of the lieutenant governor. I forgot it. But 3 Latinos working together to take Florida back to Spain. It's crazy, crazy. Miss Perez, I have to congratulate you. I mean, this is the best ad I've seen so far. Very classic kind of ad. She looks a lot better. We should be happy for her. And at least she's a proper weight. Very good for her, Miss Perez, my Hispanic sister. Nothing to say about that. She's amazing. Let's continue. I wanted to show you this. Dude, I wish that Plato were alive to see this. Where is Plato? Where is Plato?
Sensational.
Absolutely amazing. I love it. I love it. This is amazing. It's so good. Look at this. We don't even need the sun anymore. What were those Italians bitching about in the tenements with no windows? Nowadays, we would solve this. You know what's so odd about this is that I feel like that TikTok, the one that the guy goes to heaven, and he's like, no, it's great. I just didn't expect it to be Chinese. This is something I would have expected Chinese people to invent. But only in America are the people so downwardly mobile, so destined to live in a 4-wall box with no circulation, that we have invented a product in order to simulate light, in order to simulate the outdoors. I love it. Dude, I'm telling you, at some point, we are going to get government mandated fentanyl packs, VR goggles, and this. And the streets will be clean, and you'll be able to go outside, and it'll be awesome. And everyone will be at home with their fleshlight gooning to OnlyFans under their fake little light, and it's going to be great because everyone else can just go outside and have a good time. Most people would like this, actually. A lot of people were looking at this. This is, Tucker Carlson. Someone get Tucker Carlson. This is not allowed. You can't do this.
You can't do it. It's disgusting.
People have a right to windows. No, they don't. They don't have a right to windows at all. We need to bring back the tenements, actually. Bring back the tenements. You're telling me that you go to the grocery store and half the people you don't interact with, you say, you should be living in a tenement, actually. You don't have a right to be out here in the grocery store. You should be relegated to living in the tenement, ordering Instacart and ordering Uber Eats on your goonmobile. That's what you should be doing, actually. You should not be out here at the grocery store with me. Look at you, man. You weigh 300 pounds, man. You can't be out here buying a pub sub. That's not allowed, actually. You should be at home. If the world is going to be ugly, it is ugly because people are just, you go to the store, you can't have a conversation. They're all terrible. Who are you going to talk to? This would be this is part of the solution. I'm very glad to see that someone is thinking a little bit bigger. Someone is daring to dream. Very Chinese, American capitalism with Chinese characteristics. It is coming. It is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue. We have over here, this is another great piece out of the Congress. Here we have Mark Wayne Mullen, and I have to remind you that Mark Wayne Mullen is a Native American. So what we're about to see here is probably the worst thing to happen to Native Americans since General Custer's last stand. We have here like the whitest woman in Congress attacking our Native American, what is he? He's a secretary of, he has Kristi Noem's old job, which was what? Kristi Noem, she was running an OnlyFans with her husband and deporting Mexicans, supposedly. I don't know what she was doing.
We didn't shut them down. You shut them down.
Answer my question.
I did.
What are you doing? Why are you moving?
Ma'am, I answered your question. You were the one that shut them down. The Democrats shut down. How many times did you vote to shut them down?
Why? You know, these people come to us.
These people, these people, you can't say that, man. You can't say that.
Come on, man. This is a free man talking.
I haven't seen a white talk to a Native American like that in my whole life. Only in movies do I see that. These people. You people. That's crazy. Miss DeLauro. And she's Italian. These people. Ellis Islander talking down on the original Americans in Congress.
To get funding for the work that they do. And we
I'm actually factually correct. I'm factually correct. You voted to shut them down. Republicans voted to open them over and over and over again. Your vote clearly stated that you voted to shut us down. It wasn't until it became popular. And then, by the way, ICE agents came there and helped bring the lines down. The same people that you also kept shut down for 115 days. I'm answering the question.
No, you
I thought you said you answered it. The floor is hers.
My dear.
Actually, I gave it to her. You know, there is a chairman of a committee. That's me. I gave it back to her. She's got it.
Something about who these folks are.
These folks. You see, this is the old Marxist idiom. Idiom. I don't know what you call it. Expression. First history is tragedy, and the second time is farce. This is the Trail of Tears all over again. We have a Native American man who's trying to keep the American reservation indigenous, being lambasted by two whites to shut up, that he can't even talk. He can't even talk. They are taking the microphone away from Native American voices. A Native American is speaking. He's trying to make sure that America remains indigenous. And the white people are here telling him he can't do that. You can't do that. That's not allowed. I'm sorry. I haven't seen this kind of violence outside of Dances with Horses and The Last of the Mohicans. How this is woke really over?
Say the N-word. Go on.
I mean, they might as well. They might as well be saying the N-word, talking like that to a member. What is he? Is he Cherokee? What tribe is what is it with these Native? I know it's a bit or whatever. Like we're having a little fun here, but he doesn't really look it, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm always confused because in Latin America, the Indians look really indigenous, and over here it's like I'm Native American. You're like, dude, you look super white. You don't. What is? I'm not gonna doubt his identity. I'm sure he's cool. I'm sure but he doesn't. You know, because when I picture a Native American, I picture the guy from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You know, the guy who chokes out Jack Nicholson to relieve him of his pain. The tall guy. I don't picture Mark Wayne. Mark Wayne Mullen looks like he could be in a Taylor Sheridan movie. What do they do in Taylor Sheridan movies? lynch Chinese people or something. What do they do in Taylor Sheridan movies? I don't know. They complain about how their daughter is sleeping with it's conservative, right? So they complain about how their daughter is too sexually promiscuous and get mad at minorities or something. I don't know what they do. But he doesn't, whatever. But it is part of, I want to see them do that. That would be funny to do, but no one's going to do it, obviously, because it'd be identity politics. But it is kind of funny that these people are talking like that to a Native American. A Native American can't speak in this country. It's not even fair. All right, let's continue. We have over here, I wanted to show this here, this Secretary Duffy at the Great American State Fair, where they showed a model of our arc of Trump. Not looking too good. Let's see what he had to say here about our military band.
Okay, to start this off, I think we have to give a big round of applause for our military band and singers. Way better than those libtards that canceled on us. So much better.
Wow, he totally owned them. That's crazy. Did you hear that?
On us. So much libtards that canceled on us. Way better than those libtards that canceled on us.
Wow, this is crazy. Dude, Ben Shapiro must be so happy right now. He must be sitting in the Daily Wire studio like, I wrote the theory, you do the praxis. It's just, wow, you really own them. You called them the libtards. Wow, this is what happens. And look, I know we're shitting on the Republicans today, but we're a fair-handed show. We shit on everyone, okay? We're pretty fair. I know it's Republican-focused today, but whatever. Come on, man. This is what we're doing. We're owning the libtards now. This is what they elected Trump for, to own the libtards. And you know what? That's actually true. Because I've noticed when Trump got elected and I put out that video, Trump will not fix America, everyone was saying, you're evil. You can't say that. That's not allowed. Trump is definitely going to fix America. You stupid fucking Latino retard. You're mad because you're going to get deported. And I'm going here like, dude, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm sorry. I think it's too far gone. There's too much money being printed. And then a few months later, we're going to get a Doge check. Fuck you. All right, let's wait for that. Where's the Doge check? Where's that money? I want to know where the money is, because I was told that there was going to be a Doge check. But instead of a Doge check, all you get is this guy going, the libtards, the libtards. That's crazy, man. You get to say retard and libtard. Good for you. I'm so happy for you. You're the best. Republican voters, are you winning, son? Do you feel so good? And look, of course, the liberal voters aren't getting what they wanted either. Everyone's in hell here together.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
But all right, come on. You know, this is pretty ridiculous. This is the libtards. Amazing stuff. Thank you, sir. All right, let's get to the next part of the show, because we have to cover New York. I'm very excited about that.
The people are retarded.
I want to start here with my favorite. This is my favorite white woman in the world. I'm serious. I don't mean that ironically. I made a video defending her last year. I love Greta. I never had a problem with her. People were when she was 14 and scowling at president, when she said, well, I used to know the speech. You come to us young people for hope. You talk about endless growth and other economic fairy tales. How dare you? I love her. She's good. I like Greta. How do you not like everyone that hates Greta? They don't appreciate how cool it is what she's doing. She's living a very Scandinavian life. Read Kon-Tiki. This is very Oh, she was born rich. Yeah, and she could have been born rich and done nothing. Okay, she was born rich, and all she wants to do is take a cruise. Okay, she wants to take a nice cruise on the Mediterranean to go save the people in Gaza. She wants to save the planet from global warming. Why does she inspire such dread and discord and hate? And let's check in on her latest project here, because I really do like her, and I like how she's always sticking up for the underdog.
Yesterday, an anti-terrorism court in Pakistan sentenced Dr. Mahram Baloch and a few other activists to life imprisonment. Dr. Mahram Baloch has spent years peacefully advocating for the families of the disappeared, speaking up against extrajudicial killings, and demanding justice for the people of Balochistan, occupied territory by Pakistan. She was arrested in March 2025 during a peaceful sit-in in Quetta while calling for accountability after protesters were killed. For more than a year, she remained in detention, facing isolation, concerns over medical neglect, and charges as an attempt to criminalize peaceful political activism. Her trial was conducted behind closed doors inside a high-security prison, away from public scrutiny and independent observation, raising serious concerns about transparency and due process. This case is about more than just one individual. It is about what happens when peaceful dissent is treated as a crime and when those who speak up against oppression are themselves silenced. Human rights lawyer Iman Mazari, who represented Mahram in court, is also facing imprisonment in connection with her outspoken criticism of state actions and her public advocacy for civil liberties. Her case has been widely discussed as part of a broader pattern in which dissenting voices face legal pressure and criminalization. You can imprison people, but you cannot imprison the truth. You cannot silence an entire movement by locking away its voices. The world cannot continue to look away from this. Stand with Dr. Mahram Baloch and all those imprisoned for peacefully demanding justice. Demand accountability, demand due process, and demand their freedom. Free Mahram and free Balochistan.
Now, for anyone that's not aware, Balochistan is a separatist state in Pakistan. So, and I look, she is earnest. She's an earnest gal. I just want to know if RAW, the Indian intelligence agency, is behind this. But she's like Lawrence of Arabia, but in the 21st century. She's fucking cool, man. She's out here fighting for the rights of Balochistan. Only Greta would care about something like that. I don't give a shit about Balochistan, but maybe she's right. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she's right. I've never been to Pakistan. I'd love to go. She sailed across the ocean like Christopher Columbus on a sailboat. And they're all making fun of her. They're saying, "Oh, Greta is done with Gaza. Now she's going to go talk about Pakistan." Is it wrong for a young person to demand justice? Is this not what we want from our young people? People that can think beyond their own borders. People that can think beyond Sweden, with the wonderful welfare state that they have. I love it. She's so damn cute. Don't you just want to go up to Greta and just give her a big smooch on the forehead? Just like this is a kind of earnestness and optimism that I have not seen. Who else is behaving this way? Literally no one else. Someone who can earnestly look at you and say, "Hey, I really care about climate change and the Israeli genocide and Balochistan," or whatever you want to call it, the war in Israel, whatever. It's living the dream of anyone who wants to do something. Anyone who wants to make a change in the world. And yeah, sure, maybe climate change didn't work, and maybe Gaza didn't work. Maybe Balochistan will be her first victory. She's just trying to find something that can work. Okay? She's just trying to change the world. And do we fault people for... Isn't it the dreamers, the thinkers, the doers? Disconnected. For Women's History Month next year, we're going to do Greta Thunberg appreciation every day. By the way, I see Robert is here. How you doing, Robert? How you doing, sir? How's Vegas? How's the family? J-Boss says, Greta is the epitomized Baudrillard inside, emblematizing Nordic people as a emblematizing Nordic people as a whole, always concerned about foreigners, never caring about their own. Isn't that how the Nordics were able to conquer Iceland and parts of Canada and influence the whole world? I mean, they are, I love the Nordics. I really do. I have family there in Norway. I visited Iceland. I'd love to go to the Faroe Islands. They're some of my favorite people. They're the Japanese people of white people. They're super autistic. They're crazy. They think bigger. They dream bigger. I like the Nordics. Unapologetically, I'm a huge fan of the Nordics. I have my problems with the British, but the Nordics, you know, the Danish, they gave us Nicholas Winding Refn. The Norwegians, the Swedish, they're cool. I like Greta. I like her. I like her people. These are, to be honest, these are some of my favorite white people, the Nordics. I love them. The Nordics are so much fun. They're very cool. A little cold, but they're nice. They're nice. All right. Let's continue. How you doing, Adrian? All right. Let's check in on what Deborah Leah is doing in Washington Square Park. Dude, I hate everything. I don't know how you still live there, dude. Dude, do you need to start a Go Send Go or GoFundMe? Or dude, you need to leave this. This place sounds crazy. New York, how can you live there? Let's see what they're doing in Washington Square Park. Let's see what they're doing.
I'm not saying that. Jesus Christ.
Do you think that's a normal quote? No. Real quotes from the radical right. Let's see what people think.
Mom, Dad, Hitler was awesome. Hitler was right.
I don't know if I can say this.
I can't say that, sorry.
What?
Can I refuse to say it?
This was actually Nick Fuentes. Why won't you repeat it?
I can't believe anyone would even say that, like, in private.
I was like, Mom, Dad, Hitler was awesome. Hitler was right.
It is sad that people actually do have that opinion.
They have a weird rule if
you are Jewish, you can hide.
As a pedophile? Whoa.
A really crazy thing to say.
I don't agree with that.
I don't have words.
That is the normal reaction. Do you think it's true?
Obviously not.
This was said by Candace Owens.
They have this weird rule that you can go if you're Jewish and hide as a pedophile.
Literally the craziest thing I ever heard.
Of course, Israel does not protect pedophiles.
I can say for myself,
I dislike them more
than anybody.
So it was Tucker Carlson.
I dislike them more than anybody.
Do you think that's normal?
No, of course not.
I think that's completely unacceptable.
I can't say that.
Why not?
Jewish people were in control of the slave trade.
All of us need to wake up to this.
Just seems crazy.
I don't think this is factual.
Candace Owens said this on her podcast to millions of people.
Okay. That's enough. I don't want YouTube to get mad.
Wait a minute.
Hang on. Whoa. Hang on.
Well, hang on.
I keep saying this. Why? This is like the worst thing you could do. Someone needs to, as I always say, the HJIC needs to come in and lay down the law. Why are you reading quotes? Why are you amplifying things that you say are false, you say they're wrong, and obviously create resentment? Because, all right, I just, listen, I'm not going to sit here and read all the anti-Hispanic facts to you. I'm not going to do that. Because why would I do that? Why would I? That just doesn't make sense as in a persuasion. This is probably the most anti-Semitic thing I've seen in my life. Why would you do this? And I know what she thinks she's doing, but that's not an excuse. This is very bad. This is very stupid. Why would you repeat? At that point, why don't you just recite a whole Farrakhan speech or something? Who said, why is this a good idea to say? Iron Hammer says those kids are going to go home and fall down a rabbit hole. Exactly. And everyone who watches this is going to look this up, and I'm sure they're going to find some literature from the Voice of the People, the Nation of Islam's newsletter, or like go on the Nick Fuentes site and watch Nick Fuentes, and they're going to go, this is kind of making sense. I'm not saying that they're weak for that or anything. I'm just saying that you're introducing things to people, and you don't know how susceptible those people are to that way of thinking. Why would you do this? This is the worst thing that you could do. Dude, we need Rabbi Mizrachi to be in charge of the ADL. Because I promise you, if Rabbi Mizrachi was in charge of the ADL, he would not be trying to arrest Nick Fuentes. He would be arresting this woman here for doing this. He would be arresting her. He would be arresting anyone doing something this disparaging to that community, even if it comes from within the community. If I saw a Hispanic guy sitting in Washington Square Park making non-Hispanics read, I don't know, Hispanic crimes, talking about Lake and Riley and all, I would say, brother, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to us? You're making my life harder. Why would he do that? Oh, dude, I just have to tell them because look how they talk shit about us. No, this is not the way, brother. Like, just put on a suit and look good. Do it like Miss Perez or Mr. Fishback. Why would he do this? This is the worst strategy you could employ. All right. Great stuff. Let's continue here. And I saw Forehat, by the way, said he can't call in today because he's stoned. Very convenient, sir. Second time that we have call-ins and you can't call in. You were talking big shit when we didn't have call-ins. That you need to be interviewed and all that. No call-ins? All right. Let's check in on the boomers.
My dream is, I hope, I'm 66 now. I hope at the end of my life, if I live a long life like my father did, he made it to 93, I hope as I'm on my way out, the last great thing I witnessed in this country is President Barron Trump. No, forget it, King Barron Trump.
You are fighting against America and you hate white people.
Really? When I'm old, I'm already old. I'm like centuries old. Centuries old. I'm a vampire, dude. I've been around since the 1500s, okay? But when I'm old, I don't think I'm going to be wishing to see anyone become the king or any. I think I'm going to wish that I can leave my children, if not monetary inheritance, because we know how that's going. When I'm old, I hope to leave my children the best hunting knife that I had so that they can fight in the nuclear wasteland for the best dog to eat or something. When I'm old, I want to leave my children the one copy of Anthem or something so they can rediscover libertarianism from first principles. No, I would not do that at all. Actually, I wouldn't do that. When I'm old, I'm thinking of my grandchildren, my children. If you're thinking about this, you are, I've said it before, man. If you think about a man all day, whether it's Trump or Biden, you might be gay. You might be gay. You might be. This is the priorities of our elders in America. And as I always say, it's 80-20, man. 20% of the boomers are great. I love 20%. But what is this, man? What sir, call your grandchildren. I want to know how Grandpa says that all he wants out of life is for Barron Trump to be the king of America. Can Grandpa give me some money so I can go to Caltech and become a mathematician? No! I have to give that to WinRed so that Barron Trump can be the president. It can't be that way. It can't be this way. It can't be this way. It can't be this way. All right. This we'll save for tomorrow. And since we've been talking about Andrew Wilson a lot lately, I want to make a video called "Is Andrew Wilson Going to Hell?" Very curious about that. I wanted to show you this here. This is the state of modern dating. Remember, this is not the Myron Gaines show, who is a tether J-boss. He's not black. Let's check in on the dating culture here.
I had a very vulgar comment on my post last night that was just very enthusiastically agreeing with me, saying, "Oh, you want a man of God, but cheeks are out on Instagram." And this individual, comment is now deleted, you don't even need to go searching. This individual took it upon himself to say, no, we're going to use a very polite word, no virginity, not the word he used, no virginity, no diamond ring. And I am appalled at how damaging of a narrative and a statement that is. I am one of the most conservative, traditional valued women who believes in biblical principles that you will ever meet. And every single day and twice on Sunday, you will hear me say that just because you have a sexual history does not disqualify you from a healthy, happy, godly marriage. To say that a woman has to be a virgin in order for you to marry her completely blocks off you being willing to listen to the voice of the Lord in who you marry. Because in this case, your girlfriend's sexual history may feel like a very prominent sin to you, but your pride is just as prominent of a sin. And they both have really dire consequences. But if any person you're dating has walked through their sexual histories, living in repentance, is walking in purity and doing all of that with the Lord, and they're surrendered to the process, for you to take that person off the table because you have your own inflated, egotistical ideas that you deserve someone who's never slept with someone else, and you are completely blocked off to the Lord's plan for who he may actually want to bring you, that is your own pride. We're not going to label people as damaged goods, because if she's damaged goods, we are all damaged goods. That's the whole point of Jesus having to come die. He came and died for her. He came and died for your pride. He came and died for my sin. He came and died for your Walmart lady's sin. He came and died for everyone's sin. That is literally the entire point. So do not rule out marriage to someone by your own invisible standard that the Lord did not place on you. He never promised you that the woman you were going to marry was a virgin. Women, he never promised you the man you were going to marry was a virgin. All I ask of you is to not look at, are they a virgin? Are they a virgin? What if they're not pure? Are they walking in newness with Christ? That's the only purity you need to be concerned about. Okay? Are there consequences for sexual history? Yes, absolutely. Is that something to take into account? 100%. But eliminating an entire group of people and saying, I will never, because she has a history, because he has a history, I need you to check your pride at the counter. That is a preference, not a mandate, and not guaranteed.
What the fuck happened to you, man? Your ass used to be beautiful.
There's no fixing this country. There really is no. We can't communicate with each other anymore. Because to me, my problem here is this is all cope. And I don't like to cope. I don't like coping. As I always tell everyone here, you should be trying to marry Bonnie Blue. I said that last year before anyone else was talking about marrying OnlyFans girls. I'm looking at my Hispanic brother, Nick Fuentes, who said that after I said you should be trying to marry Bonnie Blue. All I'm saying is that someone is watching this show. Sometimes I see what I say on this show end up in other places, okay? I don't know why. This is all cope. It's all cope. It's all cope. I do agree in principle, but the reality is, if this is true, then why should we not be chilling with Bonnie Blue? Is going to have a more interesting conversation and propel me forward than whatever this is. This sucks. We're going to be talking about walking in the newness of Christ. Listen, I'm a postmodern Catholic, but what are we doing here? If we accept that we're all flawed, that this is hell, that we're here and we're forced to cooperate in order to survive, why would we not choose someone who can cooperate with us best? Someone who has ditched, because this is coming from ego. This is ego. This is not something from... It is ego at the end of the day. It's because she has had a past that she feels ashamed of. And I always tell people, your goal in life should be to rid yourself of shame and guilt. It literally takes you, again, guilt took me like 3 months. Shame's a little harder. That one takes like 6 months. Okay. Once it's gone, it's gone. Boom, it's over. If it ever tries to come back, you block it out, but eventually it won't even come back. There's no way they can even make you feel it. You can't even feel it after a while. But we're going to sit here and we're going to pretend that it's the I'm sorry, because when I was growing up, it was the men that wanted to pretend we're in the 1950s and all this. And then that devolved into everyone wants to be a sheikh and have a harem because Myron Gaines said it. And now we have this, where now the young ladies are doing this. No, I would rather we do the Bonnie Blue thing than this. The Bonnie Blue thing is actually cool. It's actually fun. Bonnie Blue is the Hillary Clinton of the 21st century. She's great. I like her. But this is this the debate we're going to be having where people are going to be lying? People are going to have to lie. They're going to have to go. You know, we realize we're becoming like, I know this because my producer tells me that this is what they do in like Salafi Islam. Like, we'll do hymen reconstructive therapy so it feels like the same thing. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's over. It's we're becoming superstitious. We're becoming this country has a lot of problems that can't be fixed. If this is how the young ladies are talking, and we look at how the young men are talking, listening to Andrew Wilson's divorced ass, married to a woman with 3 baby daddies. His kid dies from negligence, and he's the alpha male Chad. Then over here we have a young lady telling men they're not entitled to what they want. I would tell you to rid yourself of that desire, but not in this cringe cope way. This is the worst way you could pitch this. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. All right. We have a lot to get through, so we're going to end the segment here. And I see Full Hat is running again, just as I expected. He's running. All right. Let's get to it. We got a lot to get through. Let us start here with Zohran Mamdani. Let's play our title card. Where's our title card?
Are you a communist?
No, I am not. I don't think that we should have billionaires. No, I call myself a democratic socialist. No, I have many critiques of capitalism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. What I'm focused on is making the city affordable for everyone, not to win an ideological argument.
How is Zohran Mamdani doing? One of my favorites to ever do it. I'm not ashamed to say that. He is one of my favorites. He just got a major victory. Major key alert in the words of DJ Khaled. He's doing great. He got Daria Lisa elected. He got Claire elected. He got Brad Lander elected. How are people coping with this? Are they crying like Kyle Rittenhouse?
That's right, run.
All right. Let's check in on the fallout from today, okay? Firstly, I have to show you this New York Post article that says, private home ownership bashing. Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier's father is a landlord and rents his Miami condo for $1,750 a month. Can you get me his number? That's actually not bad. That's actually pretty good. For Miami standards and rent, this guy might as well be Fidel Castro. That's actually pretty good. Can someone get me Daria Lisa's dad's number? I want to see where the condo is. Is it really as nice as they're showing in the picture? Look at this epic owning the libs. That's actually completely reasonable for Miami real estate at the moment. Her dad is a Miami hero. Please, Daria Lisa, get your dad on the line. I know a lot of people that would want to pay $1,750 a month. He is an American hero. Great guy. What kind of cope is this? New York Post. Anyone from Miami reads this and they go, God damn, dude, her dad is losing money. He could be charging, you know how much they're charging for condos over here? Like $3,000 minimum. And he's only charging $1,750? Either something's wrong with that condo or he's the most generous man in the whole city. Probably pretty good. $1,750 a month. And we're going to shit here on my, this is my Hispanic sister, Miss Chevalier, Dominican. We're going to shit on her? Absolutely not. I'm glad now we can have some bipartisan Hispanics. Very cool. Because before it was leaning very right wing. Let's continue. I wanted to show you this before we get to the stories. Ted Cruz came in wearing the New York Knicks uniform today. This is today. Ted Cruz took a break from his podcast. Oh, I forgot. He's a senator, but he also does a podcast. I'm sorry, I forgot because he's always doing a fucking podcast. I forgot he was a senator. A senator, not a congressman. He's a senator. He took a break to go and wear the New York Knicks jersey with Senator Gillibrand. I just wonder because Ted Cruz. I have a question for you. He should be one of my Hispanic brothers, but he's not.
Why are you in our country? You need to go back.
You are Canadian. You're not even American, dude. I don't know how you ran for president. You were born in Calgary. You are born in Calgary to your dad, who, according to Donald Trump, helped kill JFK. And then you went to Texas to become a Texan. And now you're going to go grift off of the New York Knicks. What connection do you have to New York, Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz is a rootless cosmopolitan elite. He literally is that. Why are you doing this? I thought you hated liberals and liberalism. And you're going to go in here and try to grift off this? Disgusting. Truly, just the worst. Get him out of here.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Let us see today. This is what they were showing here. This clip came out today. It's 500,000 views, a little over 500,000 views. This is Zohran Mamdani. This is the epic own, because remember yesterday we learned that he sometimes he goes half Muslim. Sometimes he goes quarter Muslim. Yesterday, according to Twitter, one of these MAGA tard accounts, he went full Muslim. This is what they were putting out today. I think this might be, maybe this isn't full Muslim. Is there anything above full Muslim? I don't know. But maybe this is half Muslim. Let's see what he had to say here about immigration. Let's check this here.
And I consider my own faith, Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, as for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world. Or as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange. So glad tidings to the strangers. If faith offers us the moral compass to stand alongside the stranger, government can provide the resources. Let us create a new expectation of City Hall, where power is wielded to love, to embrace, and to protect. We will stand with the stranger today.
Okay. Now, I know we have some right-wingers here. And you're probably like, oh, yeah, why is Zohran saying this? There's no money to bring in immigrants. My concern is not that. My concern is, where's the free bus? I was promised a free bus. He should make a t-shirt at this point that says, I voted for Zohran and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. I wanted the free buses. We're talking about immigration. I've been to Medina. It's a wonderful place. The Prophet Muhammad was right. I was in Jeddah and people were nice, but then I went to Medina and they were super nice. People bought me dinner. They bought me breakfast. Complete strangers. A whole guy gave me a tour in his Hilux. Because I was like, dude, is that your Hilux? That's fucking crazy. We don't have those in America. And he said, yalla, yalla, yalla. Come here, my brother. Are you Muslim? No. He said, Bismillah, you will be. Don't worry. Get in the truck, bro. We'll fucking drive around. Took me around. Showed me the city. Cool guy. It's a very nice place. But where's the free bus, Zohran? I want the free bus. I'm sure I hate everything wants the free bus. We all want the free bus. And we're over here talking about the Prophet Muhammad and immigration. Where's the free bus? I want the free bus. Before we move on to all of this, can we talk about the free bus for a little bit? I'd rather talk about the free bus than this. Because if there's no money for the free bus, then there's definitely no money for this. And I need the free bus. I was looking forward to taking the free bus in New York. Let's continue. All right. So first I had to show you this. This is Hassan Piker, who is a fan of Zohran Mamdani. Dude, I get into Alex the Mechanic character now when I say Mamdani and I say Mamdani because that pisses people off. This is Hassan Piker talking about the elections. He was there on election night. And this is his call out to Richie Torres, who many of you know, who is Hispanic and black and is like Israel's #1 supporter in Congress. which I we can all have our priorities and everything. I just think it's kind of weird for a Hispanic guy from the Bronx to love Israel. I don't know. I find it a little strange. Because when I say I don't really care about the Israel thing, I actually don't. It's not that I feel negatively or positively. I'm just like, I'm expected to care about. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's horrible. There was just an earthquake in Venezuela. My family's trying to dig their way out of the rubble, and you want me to care? But anyway, Richie Torres really cares about Israel, so he's not liked a lot by the left. Let's see what Hassan Piker had to say who was there.
Richie Torres, I know you won tonight. I didn't even look at your race. You probably won, you piece of shit. Remember, I was coming for you, but you got lucky this time. But I'll see you in 2. I'll see you in 2, motherfucker. I know you stopped talking shit. I know you stopped talking about Israel, Richie Torres. What happened? I'll see you in 2 years, motherfucker. Just wait. Richie, I'm coming for you, Richie. I'm coming for you too.
This is our city.
You think shit is sweet? Sit on that fucking seat for the next 2 years. I'll see you in 2, Richie. I hope you remember that. Every day. Every time there's a decision that you can make.
Okay, it's very self-promotional, very Erdogan, can you come get your boy? This is I'm coming for you, Richie. This reminds me of when Sam Hyde called Hassan Piker out. I think he's literally doing that bit. He's like, I'm coming to get you, Richie. Hassan Piker can threaten a member of Congress because, look, if this were anyone else, I would say, whatever. You know, he's saying, obviously he's speaking metaphorically. However, Hassan Piker is this like dog abusing guy. That's what I've been told. I don't know about that. Okay. I don't know about that he shocks his dog with a collar. If I'm Richie Torres, I'd get a little nervous. I'm like, dude, if that's how he treats dogs, I wonder how he treats people. So I'm wondering what level of protection. He's acting like Whitey Bulger. The reason Whitey Bulger was acting out when he was active is because he was an FBI informant. And he had full cover and protection from the agency. I'm wondering, Hassan, how are you comfortable saying this to Richie Torres? But, you know, I don't know. This also feels like the kid that, everyone does the group project except for him. And then he's like, we did it, guys. Hassan Piker, I don't think you did much to get them elected. Maybe I'm outside of I don't watch Hassan Piker. I don't know what he did, but I'm sure that Zohran Mamdani had more of an impact on this election than Hassan Piker. Let's continue. All right, we don't have to watch him again. This is Claire Valdez, my Hispanic sister, being asked about winning on CNN.
So Josh Gottheimer, Democratic congressman, he told CNN, obviously the socialists had a big win last night. The question is, are we going to let them take over the party, or are we going to stand up and fight back? Many of us believe, as I do, that if you're a socialist, you're not a Democrat. And 2 other prominent Democrats, one a senator, one a prominent strategist that you've probably known of your whole life, have also come out for other reasons criticizing. Here they are.
The dirtbag left is having their moment.
And understand, these people do not like Democrats. Not only are they not Democrats, they wish Democrats poorly.
Okay, there's a lot in there. Let's just start with James Carville. Do you wish, not only are you not a Democrat, you wish Democrats poorly, is what he's saying. Is that true?
What I wish is for working class people to have the dignity, the wages, the protections that they deserve. And if the Democratic Party is willing to stand for Medicare for all, is willing to fight for abolishing ICE and bringing them, the billions, trillions of dollars we spend on forever wars back into our communities, then that's the Democratic Party I want to be part of. That's what we're fighting for in these races. And I think we saw over the last, several weeks, months, as progressives around the country are winning, and last night, that this is what the working class and the Democratic electorate is also hungry for.
So, and you have a point there. Then when you listen to Senator Fetterman, the dirtbag left is having their moment.
Okay, so here we see CNN is doing a crucifixion.
This is a crucifixion. This is political. And don't tell me it's not.
I don't see how this is their fault at all, the DSA guys. I remember, because I'm old as shit, that back in the day when AOC got elected to Congress, Nancy Pelosi, this old Italian broad who loved to show us her ice cream during COVID, went on the front cover of Vogue or Time, what was it? Where she was there with, as President Trump says, AOC +3, aura farming, getting all that clout, trying to get whatever she could out of AOC, bringing her into the coalition. So if you have this view that the Democratic Socialists are so evil, they're so bad, whose fault is it that they're there? Because I remember specifically it was Nancy Pelosi who invited them in. And you're going to be mad at them? I'm sorry. What is this? This is a vampire situation. You invited Dracula in. And then when he's sucking blood, you're going, no, you can't do that. Why are you making more vampires? You invited them in. Nancy Pelosi did this because it was politically expedient. And now we have everyone else crying and moaning about it. Why? Why are you crying and moaning? 7, 8 years ago, you were so happy. Cori Bush. Who else was there? Ilhan. My girl Ilhan. I love Ilhan. She'll scrap. She'll fight with you. And they're mad at them for winning. I don't think it's their fault that they won. I think it may be you guys who invited the fox into the hen house. And I love when they invite the fox into the hen house because I'm a good farm boy. Let's continue. This was over here, my girl, Daria Lisa, responding to, well, it's McCarthyism all over again. Let's see this here. Let's see what they ask her here.
Delegation, and you're going to appear in all sorts of people's ads, all sorts of Republicans' ads to say, this is what you're going to get if you vote for the Democrats, a communist.
You know, I think that framing is one that I've been very proud to be able to say I don't respond to, one in which I have been very intentional to say I won't be reactive. We are presenting a vision of what we're fighting for, and I think for far too long we have had politics that is reactive to what Republicans are doing. What we need is Democrats who are actually going to present a positive vision, one that sets the tone for what we should be talking about, which is the issue of affordability, which is the issue of how our budgets are moral documents. If we say that we want to invest in working people in this country, then we need to do that, and our budgets need to reflect that. If we say that we value immigration and immigration justice, we need to make sure that that is also reflective in our policy. And so I'm very proud of a campaign that we built that centers those ideals, that centers those values and that vision for what we need as a community. And that's how I'll continue to move forward in Congress. And I think that for far too long, this reactive conversation of what we should be afraid of has prevented us from being able to have a politics of hope and a politics of life that Democrats can actually identify with. When the majority of the Democratic base has been seeking for the Democratic Party to actually
delegate.
Okay, now this is high-level wizardry. This is high-level tricknology here. I'm not even listening to her because she did the hypnotism thing, okay? This is a beautiful Dominican woman here. So I can't even listen. I'm looking at her and I'm mesmerized, you know. High level wizardry here. High level. They asked her if she was a communist. I have no idea what she said. She didn't say yes or no, but she completely, if you don't like the conversation, then change it. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know if she's a communist or not. She did not answer the question, which is pretty cool, actually. She was, I'm not answering your question. I'm not playing your game. This is, I tell everyone to do this, man. Do not engage in debate. Do not accept the frame of the enemy. These are smart cookies, man, in the DSA. I always thought these people were dumb. When I was in college and I would look at the YDSA on campus, I'd be like, yo, these people are stupid. But look at her. She's dressed very well, looking good, and not answering the question in a way that is satisfactory to not answer the question. This is a thinking person, someone who is actually, imagine, because we've had several evolutions. We had Bernie, then we had AOC, and now we have this. This is the most refined, pure DSA and technocratic. democratic socialism with Bill Clinton characteristics. It's just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Let's continue. This, here we had, this is a conservative saying, New York just keeps getting better and better. Congratulations to all the new jihadists in the government. Okay, let's see this here.
So are we ready to free Palestine? Are we ready to abolish ICE? Are we ready to win Medicare for all, housing for all, and unions for all?
Now notice how she led with, are we going to free Palestine? Because as New Yorkers, that should be our #1 goal. And
now this is a skit, obviously. I thought that, you know, it was crazy because I looked at her and I heard the voice and I was like, dude, that's Osama bin Laden. That's Osama bin Laden there, actually. Yeah, she's a jihadist, right? That literally sounds like bin Laden's letter to America, actually. Do people know what jihadist means? Do they know what it means? Because I don't know what it means. Yeah, I know what it means, but do they not know what it means? Are me and Sam Harris the only people who know what jihadist actually means? The difference between Islamist, jihadist, Sunni, Shia, Salafi, Wahhabi. Me and Sam Harris. It's me and Sam Harris doing mushrooms at Stanford, talking about this, and everyone else is just using these words interchangeably. And what is this? What is going on here? What did she say that was crazy? I don't know about all that Palestine stuff, but that wasn't what Osama bin Laden had. Very particular goals. He was a jihadist. None of this sounds jihadist to me. All right. Adrian says, Leo, you're doing the same thing MAGA does, simping for Latinos. Listen. If they're not a Latinx, I give them a pass, man or woman. That's why I'm so kind to Mr. Fishback, my Hispanic brother. I'm so kind to these because I gotta admit, you know, I see a brother or a sister winning, and I'm, you know, I see them, and let them cook. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. You know, I'm sure everyone else does that. Okay, come on. You see a white guy winning, and you're white. You're like, get him. You know, I'm not. Even if I don't like them, give them a little room. Let's see what they do. Okay, see what they do. Not simping. All right. Let's see what The View had to say about this. Let's see what The View had to say here.
Not implying that being pro-Palestinian and
no, there were pro-Hamas
it was
on
October
8th.
October 8th, the only thing that had happened is that Israel had been attacked and people had been brutally murdered and raped. And so on October 8th, I don't think there needed to be rallies cheering on Hamas. You're calling her an anti-Semite? I'm going to full-blown call her an
very
anti-Semite. She would proudly call herself that, trust me. And I recall a lot of people talking about...
I don't think that anyone would proudly call themselves a derogatory term like that in our society. What is this? This whole, all of New York is consumed with Israel. That's all they talk about now in New York. Israel. You'd think that Tel Aviv would be in New York State or something. I don't know. Next to Buffalo. I'm not hearing, listen, and I'm really not trying to be obtuse. I've watched the documentaries. I watched World War II in color when I was a kid. I don't watch World War II stuff anymore, but you know, I've seen Saving Private Ryan. I've seen all the stuff. I've seen the documentary that Spielberg did about it. I don't see how I'm not part of that community, so I don't know. Maybe they're seeing something that I don't. But how are these people, what are they saying that's so bad? But I don't know. All right, let's continue. This is where it gets interesting. Let's skip Michael Knowles. It's not very important. I want to see here what Ben Shapiro had to say about this. Let's listen to Ben Shapiro, who I will remind you, Ben Shapiro is someone who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, has not worked a day in his life. He has been connected from the moment he left. He published a book when he was 16. And you think that that's legit? Okay. All right. Went to Harvard, became a lawyer, never practiced, as far as I know, and then founded the Daily Wire and got a bunch of money for it. Let's see what he had to say about not only the victories in New York. Let's see what he had to say about the Democratic Socialists of America. Let's check this here.
Who's leading all of this? Who is the DSA? As we pointed out, it is overeducated, useless white people. Some of them are white, some of them are not. But bottom line is, this professional, disproportionately white, the professional useless class, they've been manufactured over the last 20, 30, 40 years in university classrooms. They've been majoring in absolute junk. They're unemployable losers who have never held a real job, but they did go to the best colleges for years and then more years, and then they can't get real jobs. So they end up as community organizers or agitators or political aides for crappy candidates who hate the country. The Democratic Socialists of America is a make-work machine for college-educated losers. That's what it is. Who's leading all of this?
Now, the first thing I would say is I thought that Ben Shapiro didn't do identity politics. I don't like to talk badly about anyone like. I'm not going to call, but except for J.D. Vance, I'll call him all sorts of names. Why is it white losers that are leading the DSA? I don't understand, because as far as I'm aware, I know we have some professional racialists in this chat, and we all get along. The racialists and the lefties in the chat, we all get along here. Zohran Mamdani, as far as I'm aware, is not white. Now, look, when I think of white, I think of like Greta. Okay, I don't think of Greeks or anything. All right, I don't think of them. But maybe I'm a little weird. Okay, Zohran Mamdani, as far as I'm aware, is of Indian descent. It's from the subcontinent, not white. Okay, all right. Then we have Daria Lisa. Daria Lisa is from the Dominican Republic. There are white Latinos, absolutely. I was called that during the woke period, and now I get called brown. And they tell me to go back to Venezuela.
For fuck's sake, put him on the next flight to Venezuela.
Okay, that's my life now. I'm told that all the time. But Daria Lisa is a darker-skinned Dominican woman. She is not white. All right, she's Dominican. I know why. I'm Dominican. I know why. You know, like I that stupid joke that they always do. Then there's Claire Vegas or whatever. She is also Latina. Now she's a little lighter, but Latinos, we don't really consider ourselves to be white. Like, we see it as a race, but not in the way that Americans do. So I don't think that she counts as white. And Brad Lander I guess Brad Lander is white. The sleazy car salesman, he's white. But he lost to Zohran. Brad Lander. Zohran got him to succeed. So who exactly are the useless white people in the DSA? Because as far as I'm aware, the DSA, there has to be white people in the DSA, obviously. Bernie Sanders is he a DSA guy? I think he is. But most of the DSA people I know are AOC. She's Puerto Rican. She's not white. Cori Bush, she's not white. She's black, actually. Or is she a tether? I don't know. The only socialists that are prominent in America that are white is like Brad Lander. Does Bernie Sanders count as white? I don't know if Bernie Sanders counts as white. I don't know how that works. Because they always say, you know, like it's a group or, you know, I don't know. I'll leave that to the professionals. And I didn't think we did this identity politics stuff. I'm sorry, Ben Shapiro, that some people can't talk for a living at the Daily Wire headquarters in Tennessee. Like, what is this? This guy is sitting here telling people that they're useless. Ben Shapiro has not contributed a single damn thing to this world. He got that Harvard law degree. What did he do with that? All he did was go on the Daily Wire and start yelling about how men and women's sports and going crazy and getting all, worked up about it. And I found a clip here that someone reposted in reference to this that I want to play because it's Batia. I'm not saying anything myself. I don't know if this is true. Okay, I'm going to play Batia talking about this phenomenon. Okay? By the way, J-Boss says the Greeks are white. Dude, the Greeks are... We'll get into that. All right. This is what Batia had to say about socialism just a few months ago. Okay, let's see what she had to say here.
Jews built the left in this country. We built the labor movement. We broke the New Deal. 70% of the lawyers who worked on civil rights cases were Jews. We've been at the forefront of every liberal and leftist issue in this country. The absolute chutzpah of saying, you're not welcome here. You know what it reminds me of? When they banned smoking in bars. I was a smoker, and I was so outraged. I was like, if there's going to be a turf war over this, surely the smokers should have gotten the bars.
She's cooking. She's actually right there.
Okay? And you can so easily imagine a counterfactual in which the left in America said, wait a minute. We can't oppose Zionism because we would lose our beloved Jews who have been there with us at the forefront every minute that we built this movement. We have to find a way to make sure that Zionists still feel welcome. We could never do that to them. And they didn't do that. They did the opposite.
So Batia, who I assume is friendly with Ben Shapiro, here is saying that the people who built the labor movement were of the Jewish faith. And so I'm not sure this strategy is the best here. I'm really not. Useless white people. You want to see useless white people? Why don't we talk about your boy JD Vance, Ben Shapiro? Okay, why don't we talk about that? Those are real useless white people. I know this is it's Robespierre syndrome. Absolutely. And speaking of that, to move on to our next story, because then we have to take calls. This is what the president had to say about that Robespierre syndrome. The communists are finally making their move. I've been waiting and preparing for this for a long time. It's easy to be a communist. All you have to do is say, quote, I'll give you everything, end quote. But that means you're taking it away from others that have earned it. Over thousands of years, that ideology has not worked once. The game is on. Enjoy watching President Donald J. Trump.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not.
It gets the people going.
I don't know what this means. Do you know what this means? I have no idea what this means. Thousands of years of... if we go back like to Thomas More, St. Thomas More, he wrote Utopia, but he wasn't like a communist. I think it's hundreds of years. Were the Romans fighting communists in Rome? I know communism precedes Marx, but what? So I hate everything. Get ready, because if it's Robespierre syndrome, Donald J. Trump has been waiting, and we all know how Robespierre ended up. So, all right, let's get to the rest so we can get the calls. All right, we can skip this. All right. Our most important story tonight is about immigration and racism. Okay, immigration is in the news. People do not like immigration. Some people. Okay. I know that because I've experienced it myself on Facebook, where people are saying that Alex the Mechanic should be deported and that ICE should be sent after him by Democrats. Can you believe it? But there is this big debate about immigration in Europe and the United States. People are not happy with the amount of immigrants, and I can understand. I was telling Americans years ago, because my mother told me, she said, wait till the day that the Venezuelan gang members get to America, it's going to get ugly. And while we were saying that, while me and my mama were saying that, everyone told us, you're stupid. It's never going to happen. And then it did happen. Okay. I'm not trying to say I told you so, but I told you so. let's start here because this is interesting. Rupert Lowe, who is the leader of Restore Britain, went on Patricio Bet David's podcast to campaign for Britain. This is the anti-immigrant candidate, ostensibly in the UK. Let's see what he had to say here about immigration. And this is all taking us to Elon Musk.
He has Muslim worship at Windsor and things. I mean, he's certainly very keen to propagate a multicultural society, which, again, I have no problem with if people integrate. And they accept the prevailing laws and culture of the people they come and live amongst. He has
so the most anti-immigration candidate in the UK says that if people assimilate, they will be accepted into the UK, which makes sense. And I know that we have right-wingers here that are going to say, King Leo, what do you mean? And what I would tell you is it's time to watch Network. It's time to put on Network, okay? Anyone who achieves political office, no matter what they say about immigration, is going to look at the numbers because everyone is in so much debt and realize there is no way this can be saved unless people start fucking like crazy or there's immigration. And the people are not fucking. The people are fighting about how many partners you have before you get married. Okay, that's what the people are doing. So, and also, was Rupert Lowe supposed to tell PBD that he would deport PBD? He's already going on PBD's podcast to promote his party. And I get pushback when I say this. Oh, GDP. Leo loves GDP. I'm not saying that I love GDP or I hate GDP. All I'm saying is that these numbers on the balance sheets of the central banks are not going to allow for immigration limitations. That's just maybe that's just my finance background, but I look at the GDP, I look at and then policy. If they tell you, listen, if we cut off immigration tomorrow, these are going to be the economic consequences, it would scare the shit out of you. It really would. And I'm not advocating here. I'm not saying that it's the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm just saying that is the financial reality. Now, some people are willing to say, fuck it, I'll take the consequences. That is very rare, the people that will say that. J-Boss is wrong. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. This is, we had a huge decision today, which was 5-4, I believe. Not 6-3. Or was it 6-3? In the Supreme Court, where they ended temporary protective status for Haitians and another group. I forget which one. And this is Stephen Miller talking about Haitians going back to Haiti.
Does the administration consider Haiti a safe country?
For Haitians, absolutely.
For Haitians?
Yes.
Despite the do not travel warnings?
Yes, so yes, Haitians live in Haiti. It's not our position that Haitians should leave Haiti. I mean, it'd be crazy for us to say that Haitians couldn't live in Haiti. It's their country. Of course Haitians should live in Haiti. There's no viable asylum, or to use a technical term here, CAT claim, or withholding claim, for any Haitian seeking relief from going back to Haiti, to their homeland. The fact that there might be pockets of Haiti where there's higher crime rates, guess what? There's pockets of Chicago with crime rates just as high, right? There's pockets of cities like St. Louis with crime just as high. Pockets of Los Angeles with crime just as high. It has never been the case that having communities that have high crime rates is a basis for asylum. Never has been, never will be.
Okay, so I say goodbye to Jean-Pierre. They're going back. What was more interesting is that this was Megyn Kelly's reaction to this. Let's see Megyn Kelly, who has become a full-blown, total white nationalist, I guess, in regards to this. J-Boss says, numbers are not going to allow immigration limitations to stop. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Specifically on that point of the debt. Everything says assimilation, the Spaniard method. It's not going to happen, man. The people are not fucking, man. The natives are not fucking in any of these countries. Let's see what Megyn Kelly had to say.
And look, this has been going on for over a dozen years. Go home. Get out. We know our country's better than yours. That's because we filled it with our work ethic and our culture and our values. You being here only dilutes it for us, those who built it and live it. And half of you people, more than half, you won't assimilate. We don't want you. We don't care if you're offended. Get out. Go home. Go back to fucking Haiti. Sorry. I'm thinking about our friends in Ohio who've been dealing with these TPS Haitians for years now, who are drunk driving all over their towns and killing people. This is the whole cats and dogs thing. Like, they don't want to live like Americans live. And this was supposed to be a temporary, it was supposed to be temporary help. And it's turned into another backdoor way of allowing someone permanent residency here. And they take advantage of all of our public services.
I can assure you this. Megyn Kelly has not made America a better place at all. I can assure you that. America is the best country in the world. I will say that for sure. But I can assure you no part of that was Megyn Kelly. Not a single bit of it was Megyn Kelly. Not at all. Okay? Not at all. It was not Megyn Kelly that made this country great. It's not this. And I would ask Megyn Kelly, at what point did Megyn Kelly make America great? When she was on Fox News fighting with President Trump, or when she became a liberal and was saying that transgender children were okay? Or is it now that we have racist Megyn Kelly? Okay, cool. She's one step away from saying the N-word side of everything.
Say the N-word, go on.
Absolutely. I mean, she get the fuck back to Haiti. All right, Megyn. This bitch is crazy. Let's continue. We can skip this one. All right. Wow. Now, why are we talking about all this? The reason is, we're going to skip this because we have to get to calls, is that Elon Musk posted this whole movie called Citizen Vigilante on his Twitter. The whole thing. This thing is an hour and 28 minutes long. I have taken a pledge not to watch new movies, and it honestly hurts because I love Armie Hammer so much. Which the good thing is that a new movie can always become old. So I actually did watch it a day after it came out because it was old. Because it's Armie Hammer, dude. I love Armie Hammer. He's the best, okay? Armie Hammer, I miss him. I think he was unfairly canceled. I like Armie Hammer a lot. He's a really good actor. My producer hates him for making that movie with Timothée Chalamet where he was gay. But Citizen Vigilante, what is this movie about? This movie is about an American guy in Germany who starts unaliving immigrants because the immigrants are graping the people of Germany. To give you an idea of what it is, this is what the movie is here. These are like, this is a compilation here. That's tame.
Is the values you're teaching your children?
I teach him the values from Quran and these values from our family.
Well, if these are your values, that women in America and Europe deserve to be raped because of a dress code, why did you come here?
You know that we have several war in our country and we have a dangerous life. That's why we are here.
I don't think it was the good ones that got out of your country. I think it was the bad ones. And I think you brought with you your archaic value system and your commitment to religion over democracy and over anything else, including the rule of law. No funny business, or I shoot Mom. Go.
Okay.
What the fuck happened? What's wrong? Hello. Come in. Come on. Go. 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 Go.
All right.
Go in. It's okay. It's okay. What the hell? Everything's okay. Is the value?
You get the idea. Now, the richest man in the world, on the platform he owns, tweeted out the whole movie. This movie has been banned in Germany and other European countries. And my question is here. People in the United States, at least, are unstable. And they have been for a long time. May I remind you that President Reagan was shot because someone wanted to impress Jodie Foster. And we have the richest man in the world here posting a whole movie that is... At the end of this movie, it says this is dedicated to all the victims of immigrants in Germany. This movie is... Listen, man. I know some people are going to be like, this is cool. It's raising awareness of this. This guy tweets bullshit like this whenever he's doing a scam. Remember the South African thing and all this? He just had a $2 trillion IPO scam. And he's tweeting this because he's so based. Legalized comedy. And what's happening here is that I'm not sure that Elon Musk, first of all, cares about the consequences of this. which could involve actual vigilantism, which I don't think everyone says they want to see this. I'm not sure they want to see this. But regardless, I don't think he's actually going to do, like, this is meant as a distraction. A distraction from all the scams he's running. Just like when everyone was mad about H-1B visas, he immediately put out that report and pushed it on his platform about the Pakistani gangs in England. And I'm not saying these things are true or false. I'm just saying Elon Musk is an unserious scammer who scams everyone all the time and knows how to play jingoistic crap in order to get people to leave him alone. So this is where we open the phone lines up. And I want to hear everyone's take. Doesn't have to be about this, but it'd be best to talk about this kind of stuff. Let's open up the phone lines. Let's open up. We have Discord. Yeah, we have Discord here. Don't switch. The Discord is open for anyone that wants to come in here and chat. Let me do, this is how I did this last time. I'll make this small. I'll make this over here. And I will open the phone lines momentarily. 1 second. Put this up. Take do not disturb off. Let's put the phone number up. There we go. Make sure that this is okay, because last time we had some issues. Let me see this. Is it the right number? It is the right number. Let's do it here as well. Oh. Let's do that here. Be careful there. Where is it? Oh, no, there we go. All right, so there we have it on both. And the phone lines are open because I would like to hear everyone's take here about what is actually going on. Is Elon Musk trying to inspire vigilantism in Germany? J-Boss says he's all right. He's waiting for other people to call in. I know J-Boss has a lot to say about this kind of thing. But I'm ready for you guys, if you're ready here, because I'd like to hear what anyone has to say here. And I always want to hear from J-Boss as well. But I agree. So we have the phone lines open. I'm interested in what anyone has to say about this kind of thing. Can I do this? Let me check here. Receiving calls, blah, blah, blah. Audio settings. That's what I wanted to check. Allow. Yeah, of course. Allow that. Speakers. Perfect. Speakers, the Yeti. Okay. So, yeah, we're ready here. If anyone has the stones, the ability to get up here, doesn't have to be about this movie. Whatever you want to say. While we wait, and these people are so unserious. The billionaire class we have now. I can't imagine Mr. Onassis tweeting out. Look, I like vigilante movies. I love them actually. I love Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry is a great movie. I watched all the Death Wish movies. Charles Bronson is great in that. However, this is profoundly silly. Like, this is unbecoming here. Is anyone going to tweet out the whole movie of, there are movies that are good and there are movies that are bad. Citizen Vigilante was whatever. I liked watching Armie Hammer. I was so excited to see him. So I watched it. But, this movie is, I just don't see, this is on the nose. It is, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I don't like to denigrate art like that. It's whoever wants to do it. How can you have, this is what I didn't understand about the movie though. How can an immigrant, an American, come to Germany and assassinate other immigrants? That was the major issue I had with the movie, where I was going, this doesn't make sense. This is like some weird fantasy. And throughout the movie, you'll see that they're showing people on Instagram being like, we need someone like this in Canada. We need someone like this in the United States. And the people in Germany are cheering the guy on. And I'm going, I don't think that this is how this would play out at all. And more than that, Elon Musk himself is a triple immigrant. How is Elon? Elon Musk was from South Africa and he immigrated to Canada. And then he immigrated to America. And he, just 10 years ago, was desperate to hire immigrants. That's what he was saying. And now he doesn't want to hire immigrants. Now he's against it. even though earlier this year he said that we need to import hundreds of thousands of people from India in order to make the United States competitive. How does this work? Because to me, this just sounds like Elon Musk, Charles Manson posting a whole movie. This movie is very violent. It's not subtle at all. And I'm afraid what this will inspire. I'm not afraid, more win and everything, right? But I don't think that this is a healthy thing to be putting out. People in the past used to have, if John D. Rockefeller were alive today and he were promoting a movie, wouldn't you be a little bit suspicious of his motivations? I don't think Elon Musk is promoting a movie because he is a profound believer in immigration being a cancer on society. I really don't think that he believes that. Otherwise, we would have seen mass firings from all of his companies of immigrants, and he hasn't done that. So this just strikes me as distraction crap that really makes no sense. I think yesterday SpaceX lost a whole $1 trillion in market capitalization in a day. And this is going to hurt the economy quite a bit, in my view. So when I see this, I go, what are you actually doing here, man? And by the way, I would not recommend this movie, but not for any cringe reasons. This is the promo here. Oh, look, they put it out and he retweeted it. They put out their whole movie for free on X. I guess not for free. They're making some money, and this movie was probably not that expensive to make. But here's the director, this German guy. And dude, I anyone that can make a movie that's interesting, that's cool. Look, man, when it was Dirty Harry, when it was Death Wish, it was more interesting to me than this. This is very on the nose. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be justice for people that are attacked by immigrants in Europe. Absolutely not. Listen, man, I hate being harassed by people in Europe to buy bracelets and stuff. You can't walk around Roma Termini at night, except if you're me, because I'm a real motherfucking G, okay? And I walk around Roma Termini at whatever hours I want. But most people cannot, and especially the young ladies. It's a very dangerous area, and it would be unfair to say that that's not because of people that are there trying to scam. But what are we saying here? What are we trying to do here? Elon Musk, what is the actual goal here? So phone lines are open. Jay Boss, I'm very excited to talk to you about it, man, because especially what you said about the debt. Because you are completely wrong about that, man. You're completely wrong about the debt situation, and I'll tell you about the history. Because I just don't understand why no one calls in. We have Spring and J Boss so far. Of course, Full Hat ran. Always running. Why are you running? That kind of thing. But come on, man. Let's get in here. Why are we being shy? I don't dox anyone. I don't say anything bad about anyone. We're cool. There are multiple people that have emailed me. I've never revealed anything, and I would never. We're all buddies here. You can give me anything you want. If there's anything that you can get out of King Leo, it's loyalty. King Leo does not divulge information on anyone to make their life worse or anything like that. Because I just don't believe in it. I think it's cringe, man. It's cringe. But I really can't believe it. Let's see what the comments were here while we wait beneath Elon Musk here. So here we have Surf, of course, is one of the funnier accounts on Twitter. He's right-wing, but he's pretty funny. Posting all this here. All right, that's a lot of Surf. I fail to understand the message of this film. It's conflating genuine concerns over race and identity with just being a psychotic, murdering piece of garbage. Obviously, I'm just not smart enough to understand. I don't agree with that criticism of this film. I think that this film was, it's worth being criticizing for other reasons. Conflating genuine concerns over race and identity. I think it was mostly about immigration and religion, not race and identity. And just being a psychotic, murdering piece of garbage. Obviously, I'm just not smart enough to understand. Well, you probably aren't. Repost the end credits too. This is the end credits of the film. This film is dedicated. It had like the Rambo 4 finishing. This film is dedicated to the thousands of rape and murder victims in Europe who were betrayed by our legal system. That has happened. I'm not saying that hasn't happened. That's terrible. That's terrible. Is that it? Are those the only comments under this? No way. No way. Did he limit who can respond? No, that's relevant. Let's go to recent. Let's go by likes. Let's go by likes, actually, because Recent's going to give us a bunch of spam. Oh, well, Jay Boss is here, actually. Let's talk to Jay Boss. Because no one else has the stones to call in. No one else. Jay Boss, can you hear me, brother?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me, King Leo?
I can hear you, sir. How are you doing? How's the footy? Are you enjoying the footy match?
I don't care about them.
Okay.
Lamb.
Okay. Ronaldo, man, Ronaldo. What's up? Tell me, what do you think? I think I know where you're going to come from here, but I'm curious as to what you think.
So which topic are we doing first?
What is the point of Elon Musk tweeting this? Are you in favor of tweeting this? Are you against this? What is the point of him tweeting this?
Well, first, I hope and I think that he paid the guy for tweeting that, I'm sure. But, apart from the market dynamics here, I have to mention them as a libertarian. But apart from that, I think you're trying to read his mind about what his motivations are. And as much as I enjoy doing that as well, it doesn't matter in the end, right? So what matters is the effect of things. What is the effect of this? I think it's on the net positive. And I think it's going to, if on the one extreme, give people ideas, which I don't recommend that they go all out and do those things, at least it'll make them think about how to do that in the legal way. In other words, how to get the state to do it for them. After all, government is there to be the monopoly on force, and we are supposed to leverage that monopoly to our advantage. So no one actually needs to go there and do any violence by themselves. What we need to do is provide the incentives for our government to do that for us. And in the end, they don't even need to resort to violence because, of course, as a libertarian, you know what I'm going to say, there's incentives that can be used. And if we use incentives the right way, we can do that whole thing peacefully.
Now, have you seen the film? I would ask firstly.
I have not. I'm not too big on watching movies. Maybe I'll watch the last 20 minutes because people said that that's where all the action is, but I haven't honestly have had the time to do it yet.
Look, because the reason I say that is that this movie is very violent, very, very violent. And look, I love violence in film. I don't think it's bad or anything. But I think there's a difference between Elon Musk tweeting out, I don't know, even though it's stupid or whatever in my mind, but there was something more benign about like a Lauren Southern documentary about the South African murders, right? This movie, I understand what you're saying, that maybe it raises awareness, but I don't see how the richest man in the world tweeting this out will not inspire at least a portion of 1% of people who have psychotic delusions to do something that they are going to, maybe they won't even regret it because they'll be in the fucking asylum. But this is very violent. He goes in there and he's taking revenge. It's true. It's a vigilante. It's not like he's just killing random people or anything. But this becomes something that gets out of hand very quickly in my experience with these types of movies. I mean, John Hinckley Jr., that was the scary thing about that she doesn't talk about it to this day, Jodie Foster.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about, I suppose, the movie industry is that the people who are publishing them cannot be held liable for the actions of those who view it. And so it also becomes a leverage to those publishing the movie. And everyone wants something to be done. And maybe there needs to be a catalyst, in other words, some big happening for people to wake up, who knows, but whatever needs to happen is going to happen now thanks to this leverage. And on the other side of the battle, we have had movies, I'm sure maybe The Purge or whatever, I'm not a big movie connoisseur as I just said, but there have been movies that have incentivized the violence in the other way against white people and by those who are supposedly the oppressed. And so now all of a sudden, because there's a movie that is in the interest of the majority, then now all of a sudden it's a problem and we should discuss it and so on and so forth. Now, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's we can recycle the same excuses that they use when the movies go against us for this movie.
Okay. I don't know, man. I really can't agree. And it's not me being stubborn. It's just this movie is very violent. And it's very, I don't know, like seeing someone come in and do something like that, which I don't even think is unlikely with this, dude, like that, this kind of stuff. I know, even because I follow to an extent, like I see what these Atomwaffen guys are doing in the United States, and that stuff is supremely dangerous. You know, these people, there's young people, 19 to 23, who are acquiring nuclear material to do huge acts in order to defend, quote unquote, their race. And it's that stuff scares the shit out of me to an extent, man, because that kind of stuff, it's irreparable, you know?
Right. And so let's grant that for a minute. And let's say that it's the most violent movie ever. I think you and I think you just agreed to this before I called in, that there have been horrible things done to the German people and then also to the British people, even if you don't agree with the whole UK report that they just released. Yes. But then let's say that this is the most violent movie. Is it not in response to some of the most violent things that we have seen in recent times?
Most violent things, definitely violent, and innocent people being hurt, absolutely.
Right.
Right, and it's bad, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and do you mind if I take this, J Boss, and you hang on there for a second?
I will hang on, please. Take it.
All right. See this. Hello, sir or madam. Welcome. Let me mute myself.
Sorry, 1 second. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Give me 1 second. I'll just bring the microphone closer. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, just to address a couple of the points that I was just listening to. By the way, great show. Enjoyed tuning in, but specifically talking about the movie itself. Number one, Elon Musk, irrespective of what we think of him, belongs to the California school and Silicon Valley. Essentially, he doesn't believe in sovereignty. He doesn't believe that Europe should have any rules against him and all of this point. But at the same time, he's trying to help you keep your sovereignty. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me.
Makes no sense.
And then secondly, this is also kind of what people criticize Europe for. And I've spent a lot of time in Paris and London, lived there for a long time, is that Europe is not able to do anything for itself. It's not able to articulate policy positions for itself. Isn't this movie by a German some kind of a cuck fantasy that reinforces that, which says we can't do anything, we need Army Hammer, the Americans, to come down and shoot all these people around us that are bothering us, that we cannot take care of ourselves, right? But I think point one is the more important one, in that Silicon Valley doesn't accept that there should be sovereignty, national rules, anything that should apply to them. But at the same time, they are telling you to go out there and, punch anyone that you don't like in the face and fight for your sovereignty. And then the final point I was going to make was regarding December 2024, when people were talking about the immigration issues, when he was saying about the rape gangs. But if you remember, that started because he was making a strong argument to bring in a lot of Indian H-1B immigrants. And then when he was attacked for that, he pivoted to, oh, look, the Paki rape gangs. What's the difference between a Pakistani and an Indian?
Right. What would you say to J Boss's point that it raises awareness overall, though, and that maybe people will be galvanized to vote?
Well, it's raising awareness, but to what end? Is it to resolve the issue, or is it to get more traction on his X or whatever? Like, what is the actual point? Does Elon Musk really want a strong AfD to come in Germany and then say, well, we don't want Twitter in here, we're going to create a German Twitter, or we're going to enforce rules or whatever, we're going to reinforce German identity? He's immediately going to say, no, what the hell is this crap? I want you people to advertise on my platform. That's all.
Interesting. If you don't mind, I haven't tried this before. Let me see if J Boss, can you unmute yourself? Let me unmute myself here and see if we can get the three of us here and see if we can have a debate here, because we finally have someone who disagrees. J Boss, can you hear me? Let's see here. This would be interesting to see. I wonder if he can hear the caller.
Yes.
I
can hear
caller?
You. I believe so. I have to give more time because I was watching you on YouTube. I have to give more time here, but probably.
Okay, so what would you respond to that?
So he's saying he was questioning the way that this would become an influence on people, and is that what I should respond to?
Right, and also the idea that this is kind of a backseat fantasy for people that think that only an American could come into Europe and do this kind of psychotic behavior to like fix Europe in this way.
Well, currently, unfortunately, that is the case. I mean, the German people are gagged. Ever since World War II, they have laws against speaking, and so and also against acting in several ways. For instance, the AfD is simply shunned away, even though they have the numbers to force by their laws, force them to have coalitions with the other ones that get voted in. Nevertheless, they're shunned by the other parties, and so they are gagged. And so if the Americans need to come in and do something, whether you call this cucked or not, even if it is, that's the situation currently. So what's the problem with acknowledging the current situation? There's no problem with acknowledging the truth.
Let's see if you can hear the caller. Caller, what would you respond to that? Do we still have him on the line? Sir, I'm not muted there. While we wait for him, my question would be, J Boss, why would an American be the one that would do this? Because I do think it's also the messenger matters, like he's saying, where this is a person from Silicon Valley. And if Silicon Valley has had a message over the past 20 years, it has been to eliminate borders, eliminate all of these issues, that any of these issues that would stop the flow of capital. Why would it be one of them that goes to Europe to fix things?
Because people are not exactly part of the reductive view of the monolith that we make them. So we can't really say, oh, every part of what makes Silicon Valley must be exactly like Silicon Valley. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Silicon Valley. It's obviously everything is a bell curve. Obviously, there's variation to everything. And I'm sure that Elon, even if Germany ends up becoming liberated and decides to have their own Twitter, he wouldn't mind.
All right. Why? I don't know about that, Jay. But I'm not trying to be pushing back for no reason. But I think he would mind in terms of Elon Musk benefits from the current German regime because he gets a whole lot of government subsidies from Germany, and he did this through Merkel, through whoever the government is now. Is he? I understand what you're saying, but what indication, or is it something where you're kind of like, I don't know Elon Musk, I don't know what his real motivations are, let's just wait and see? Or do you have anything that would clue you into the fact that Elon Musk has a motivation that is actually pro-sovereignty, pro-Europe, getting the immigrants out?
Because the logic goes like this. Let's grant you that he benefits more with the current German regime. Well, that benefit is on borrowed time, because soon there's not going to be any Germans left, and then he's not going to ever be able to talk to them because it's just going to be a bunch of foreign people there. Whereas if they decide to liberate themselves and have their own Twitter, then he can always negotiate with other white people. That is the history of our race, is that you can always, sometimes we become enemies, sometimes we become frenemies, sometimes we become friends again. And so, of course, he understands that there's one difference between carrying on this path and then not having Germans ever again. In that situation, he's never going to be able to negotiate with them ever again. Or, yes, go ahead and have your Twitter right now so that you can recuperate, recover from this mess, and then sure, and then in 10 years, 20 years, the sons of Elon Musk can renegotiate a Twitter deal. I mean, this is such petty dealings when compared to the major issues at hand.
Okay, that's a view of Elon. I don't take that view on Elon Musk, sir. I really can't share it. Because I'm not even talking about Twitter. I'm talking about Tesla. Like, this guy has factories there that if they were to go out of business, he would not be able to keep the illusion going, because he is running several Ponzi schemes at the same time. He's like Bernie Madoff on steroids, and anything like this that could actually hurt his companies. This is where I go for the motivation, where I'm going, why is Elon Musk comfortable attacking a country? Because in some ways, it's an attack on the government of Germany at the time, of this time. Why is he comfortable doing that when he has so much at stake financially over there?
But so unfortunately, I think that, and I'm sorry to put it this way, but I'm gonna say it very bluntly. That you left. You think that people are stuck in countries. It's so funny. It's like, oh yeah, let's just tax them, and then they can never go away and then evade our taxes. And you're just arguing on the other side of that. Oh, but he has so much invested in Germany, and then if Germany shuts down, he's never going to be able to put these things in Romania or in Taiwan or whatever. I mean, again, such petty arguments. Completely disagree with you.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's go to the further point, because listen, the financial thing is a huge motivator for me, a huge thing that I look at, because, and I'll accept that even it may have like a Marxist tinge to it. When you say, why do you quote laws to us? We carry swords.
That's what Pompey said.
Okay, that's what Pompey said. Look, I respect it. Okay, I understand what you're saying. However, because I've done the deep dive on this, no country in history. Oh, we're getting a call again. 1 second.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Hey, King Leo. Yeah, so just to push back on J Boss's argument, by the way, not disagreeing on a personal level, just
1 second, caller. J Boss, can you hear him?
No.
Oh, you can't? No,
I have to put the YouTube on, and then I'll hear him with a delay. Should I do that?
Yeah, I was also struggling to hear him, to be honest.
Okay.
But I paused.
I'm hearing it now.
But yeah, so the counter to there is to say that, is the issue really trying to solve immigration in Europe in a genuine systemic way, or is it in a way that makes us feel better? If it's in a genuine systemic way, then it has to you have to question the American security umbrella is essentially the NATO and the American liberal order that forces Europe to go down the path that it has, and you cannot fix it without the other. So if, for example, the EU by itself today decided they're going to remove immigration, they cannot, because it's not part of the NATO Atlanticist position to operate an economy or the global economy in this way. Focus on sort of side issues just means that you're not interested in kind of like the genuine structural issue. If the question is, how did we end up here? Well, we ended up 80 years of being under American rule has produced this outcome. And you're not talking about that. We're talking about vigilantism and side characters and a few annoying Syrians. So to me, it seems it's like scapegoatism, which makes me then question, what is he talking about? Because he is an arm of the American power structure himself.
Okay, caller, I'd ask you to mute yourself there just so we can get J Boss's response here.
Sure.
J Boss, did you capture that? Because if not, and I would add to this, is that I blame the current state of Europe mostly. And I don't really get into this on the show, but I blame it a lot on American influence. I think that the Gaullist had it right when they decided to leave NATO, which they eventually joined again. And he recognized the Atlanticist menace that was being brought to Europe through American ideology like this. What would you say to that? Because the caller is saying that immigration was brought in through the American power structure to Europe. So how could an American get them out of it?
So yes, I will respond to those two things, what you said, and then. But first, what the caller was saying that I was hearing here, is he going about it in a systemic way, or is he going about it in a dishonest way? Well, systems are something that only exists in hindsight. There's no systems for something that we're still figuring out. There's no system to solve a problem that is completely new. So after we solve it, then sure, if it happens a second time, we'll follow the system that we came up with in the first time. But currently, there's no systems. What is the rule book that we have to buy to know exactly what steps to take? This is mindless to expect that we're going to win such a propagandistic mind war, info war, where we're on, by following some rules that is all we have to do is find the right book. It doesn't exist. So we have to try things. We have to throw things into the wall and try them. Now, to answer
really quick, before you do that, J Boss, my question there would be, for example, I don't think that the current refugee system allows for an honest refugee practice. However, that is by the United Nations, and no one can go outside of it. So what do you mean by that? Because that system incentivizes the type of refugees that not only in the United States, because I saw this through my family, one of the big reasons for the downfall of Venezuela was mass Colombian immigration that claimed refugee status in the 70s and 80s. And it would have been great to stop that, but you can't violate the United Nations Convention on that.
Because then what happens if we violate it?
What happens? Well, you become a pariah state.
Oh my, oh no, so bad. But then you solve the problem though.
But it opens up, and this is why when you said what we were saying before about the swords thing, no nation state has ever refused to pay a debt. The only exception is the United States did not incur the debt of the southern states of the United States. They are the only people that got away with it. And after that, they changed the law so that could never happen again. The Bolsheviks refused to pay Russian Tsarist debt, but when Russia was reintegrated into the international order, what happened was that they were forced to pay it. There was no way they could do it. They went on a payment plan and they did it. That is how it worked. And they would not have been able to come into the international order. They would have been a pariah state. And that does not give you access to SWIFT, to important access.
Exactly. Right. And so all of this only works because of SWIFT, and you're completely wrong about no nation has not paid a debt. I mean, we've had jubilees throughout history. That's what it's called. And in fact, whole nations survived on having a jubilee every 7 years. So what are you talking about? With this has never happened in history. Whole nations have survived for millennia by practicing this practice of the jubilee of forgiving debt every 7 years. So go ahead and tell me again, what do you mean by that? If not outside of this SWIFT system that people have to be then forcibly integrated, otherwise you cannot do business with each other. And then there is this monopoly forcing people to integrate if they want, because how is it that they can force? They don't have a military. So I don't think that anything that you've said is actually making sense. Tell me again.
Well, debt forgiveness, even when you do debt forgiveness, because they did that for Russia in the 90s and the early 2000s, it's not like a completely charity-free thing. You still have to acknowledge and pay that debt. I mean, you're informing me if that's the case, because from what I've been able to read, the only debts that I know that have been canceled completely with no consequence in the modern period, meaning like in the 20th century till now, were Batista debt that was incurred, because the only exception for debt that I'm aware of is when debt is issued in order to for the personal gain of the military ruler or the ruler at the time. So Cuba, when it comes back, will not have to pay back some debt that Batista incurred because it was determined it was for his personal gain. However, they will have to pay debt. They owe a bunch of money to Spain. They owe a bunch of money to Germany. They're going to have to pay that back. There is no way they can be integrated into the system without that. So listen, I don't know if before the 19th century, people got away without paying debt all the time. But even with debt forgiveness, there is an acknowledgement, and that acknowledgement is in order to integrate them into the financial system, which, look, man, I'm not pushing back needlessly or artistically. I'm just saying, who has the balls to say, I don't want to be a part of the financial system that allows for capital growth on the global stage at this moment?
Whoever finds out that there's no teeth behind it. That's the answer.
I don't want to go conspiracy, man, but what about Gaddafi? What about Saddam? What about these people? There are people who have proposed this, but it has not gone down well before. There is teeth behind it, I would say.
Well, but then Gaddafi was on the other side of this whole racial hosting thing, right? I mean, it wasn't the Africans who were hosting the city of London and so on, but it is white people who are hosting these people. And then if they attack white people, well, they're inside of our territory, so it's not going to go well for them. There's a balance there in power. They're sort of being protected by us. Davos is being protected by Europeans around them and so on. And so if they attack these people, it's not going to go well for them because we all know where they are.
Okay, maybe my misunderstanding here, humor me here. Can you give me, and I'm not saying this in the annoying way where people are like, you know, you don't have solutions or whatever. I'm saying this literally because I want to know. What would, for example, Portugal has, oh, hang on one second. We have a caller again.
Please, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's our same caller. Let's see what he has to say. I'll translate for you, J Boss, or you can hear on the YouTube.
Yeah, I'll try.
Yeah. So just to kind of look at the bigger picture here, right? So I had a friend in finance, English guy in 2016, sort of like us now, more wind. And his position was that he supported Trump because he thought Trump was going to suck all the energy out of the populism and the racialists. And because this guy's an investor, so he just didn't want chaos. He was just like, he's going to come in, siphon all their energy and go away. And that's exactly what happened, right? In 2020, Trump changed nothing regarding race in any situation, and he was voted out. And the only reason he was voted back in is because I was going to say Brandon, but Joe Biden was holding the bag when the effects of COVID finally hit, the inflation, the lockdown, and everything like that. And he's sort of back only on the back of that. And he's doing the same thing yet again. And my buddy wasn't sort of callous that he didn't care about the future of Britain, is that he didn't think that there's anybody who's really trying to do something about it. And he thought that it's either going to be this or a civil war or chaos. And he basically is viewing these guys as grifters. Now, how is Musk any different from that in the sense that, that he's siphoning the populist energy? But is there anything that he's doing with it aside from getting people into, I suppose, breaking the law and getting into trouble as individuals?
Oh, so what you're saying is that your claim here is that Musk is, even on a like current state financials right now, he is using this in order to elevate himself and his companies. Not even what I was talking about with the batteries and all this, the battery factories in Germany, that he's using this, he's siphoning this energy in order to acquire, I guess, a larger sort of cult of investment and people like this in order to aggrandize himself rather than to get anything done. And in the process could be like hurting people.
Pretty much. I mean, the issue here is that let's just look at actions. Is there anything that has happened so far? No. Is there anything that's going to happen? No, I don't think so. So what is the end point of that then? It's just noise, but the noise essentially is leaving a fractured society and people to keep fighting when nothing is going to happen for them. And unfortunately, the rest of us are not trillionaires who can escape the consequences of that.
I see. So you're saying like a Mark Zuckerberg situation where you invent Facebook or something to bring the world together, but cynically, it's not bringing the world together. It's just making you a whole lot of money, and there's bodies left in the mist.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, exactly. Musk and this bandwagon, I mean, you played the video. Rupert Lowe has been talking about the report and whatever. I mean, personally, as far as I'm concerned, if these guys are going to even take the immigrants and incinerate them, fine by me. I'm indifferent to everybody, to be honest. But they're not going to. They're just going to give you the words, and then you're left with the anger and no resolution.
What do you think of that, J Boss? That there's just the only thing that comes out of this is like impotent anger. It would be what the caller is describing.
So, again, we can't read Elon Musk's mind. Let's grant, for the argument's sake, that yes, Elon Musk is doing this completely egotistically, but he cannot control the effects of his actions, and the effects fan out. They're not going to be just because Elon Musk put an idea in his mind and fixated on it, that therefore the effects of what his actions are going to be exactly the reflection of what he has in his mind. People are going to take this and they're going to run with it in several directions. And then there's going to maybe be a better party than AFD in Germany, a better party than Restore in the UK. These things are going to continue to bubble up. So he cannot control the effects of his actions. It doesn't matter what he's thinking. He is doing actions in the world. These actions have a ripple effect, and nobody can predict what's going to go on. Even if we know for a fact what Elon Musk is thinking, it doesn't matter whatsoever.
But so you're saying that things could translate electorally, or in what ways do you mean? Like, what channels is this going to go into?
Well, this is just another angle, another incentive for people to reflect, change their minds politically, change their minds in action. And so alongside with everything that they see in the news, alongside with what they see in social media, with what their friends and family tell them that it's going on in Germany and England. Now there's this again by Elon Musk, and now there's this movie, and then it all will come to a boiling point where people are going to take a big action. And so this just contributes to it.
Okay, but J Boss, I would ask you, because I'm familiar with Iberian politics. Are you, and I'm not trying to be reductive, I'm just trying to put it into like the real world. Are you saying that this is going to result in people potentially voting for Fox or Chega, and they're going to kick all the immigrants out?
Probably parties that are even more radical than those, yes.
Okay. Okay, so, all right. Caller, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, so J-Boss is saying that what can happen here is that Elon Musk can inspire people. J-Boss, stop me if I'm saying something wrong, okay? That he can inspire people to create more radical parties who have this as the priority, like getting immigrants out of Western Europe. And that can be something that comes out of Elon Musk fanning this rhetoric, saying, "Hey, this is a problem." Is that realistic in your view, that it will lead to new parties that will be able to actually limit immigration, fight immigration, do stuff like that?
No, absolutely not. You can create the parties, but there will be no action because you highlighted the problem right at the top before you started the conversation. You are in a Ponzi scheme economics, and it requires new bodies to die for other bodies to survive. That's how it works. You cannot end the Ponzi scheme without bankrupting the entire situation. So you cannot have a situation where they're basically going to have, essentially, people are not interested in removing a few immigrants now. They're saying mass removal. It's just not possible. And the other thing is, when we talk about electorally, if you combine boomers who need their retirements, liberals, and the immigrants, there's no coalition big enough to overtake them. All you're going to do is actually stir even more marginalization of the right by moving in this way.
Now, J-Boss would say, and this is where I disagree, I'm just letting you know, J-Boss, that some people are willing to take this on. There are some people that say, we don't mind being a pariah state, we don't mind being ostracized off Swift. There is no teeth to this kind of thing. So even if it is a Ponzi scheme, some people are willing to call an end to it. Would you agree with that?
Who? Millennials and Gen Z millennials and Gen Z who don't own anything? Sure. If I don't own anything, I can be like, I don't care if it all goes to hell. Boomers run the world. They will not change their mind on this issue. Simple as, because they've spent 50 years, 60 years building up to this economic position, and they will not give it up. Now, this issue, my point here is that when the friction isn't between immigrant or whatever it is, this is an internal friction now inside every country, saying, do we give up the Ponzi-nomics or not?
Okay, J-Boss, I don't know if you heard that, but that's actually an interesting point. Where the call, did you hear that?
Well, basically, he agrees with me, but go ahead and tell me.
No, this is just my translating here. My mediating is that the caller is saying boomers, and I do agree with this, they have outstanding political capital, not capital, they are the basis of most of these countries, and they need their pensions, which I agree with. Not that they need their pensions, but that they are not going to give up their pensions. We see this in the United States. They will not give up Social Security even if they don't need it. And they're not willing to jeopardize their world for everyone else. And so no one can really do it outside of Gen Z or the millennials. But even that is tied to be a little Marxist here, to how much you have within the system. And the people, I think this is where I would expand on it. The people that have stuff in the system are the people who hold the keys. They are the ones that have the power. So how would you deal with that?
Well, kinetically, they don't have any power. They're just a bunch of elderly people in homes. And the people who have the power are the young people who can yield guns and then point at them and say no. And then that's it. So all that you're saying is completely virtual. And all in this numbers world where the numbers matter and the numbers are going to do this and that. But kinetically, young people run things, not old people.
Okay, caller, I don't know if you heard that. Let's be, all right, everyone just chill out. I don't want to get banned by YouTube. Caller, J-Boss is saying that young people have access to weaponry, that like they run the world, that they can actually push the old people in the direction that they want to.
I would actually argue Europe is a police state, and this isn't possible at all, right? We have to think within the realms of possibility. Although that, when we say realms of possibility, it kind of, a lot of people assume that it's a call not to do any action, but essentially every part of our lives is mapped now, in a sense. So how does this come about when the state and the intelligence apparatus are extremely anti any type of organizing in this way?
Caller, I would ask you before J Boss responds to that. So what would be your solution if, let's say, you wanted to get limit immigration or send people back?
That's a big question. So it would be, I guess, you'd have to kind of remove the criminal elements. You would reject the weak applications and so forth. But the problem is, even a lot of the immigrants are second generation. Even if you remove the Syrians, what are you going to do about the Turkish Germans or any of that stuff? You still have the issue you're trying to avoid, irrespective of the path you take. My take, actually, what I would say is maybe the white man, we need to discover the white man's burden and try and uplift people, to be honest. And not in that liberal way, everyone's a blank slate type thing, but no, actually try and bring people into the economy and insist on some standards.
J Boss, I don't know if you heard that, but that sounds a lot like what the Pope says, J Boss, which I do agree to an extent. And I know you're not a Christian, but when the Pope asks people, says, consider why the immigrants are coming here and see if we can actually ameliorate their conditions down there. And that's something that I've always felt. One of the saddest moments in my whole life was being in a taxi cab in Guatemala. And I was like, this place is nice. And the taxi driver told me it is nice, but everyone has left. Is that not, as a Faustian, would you not say it is our burden to bring everyone into the world of Faust? Maybe we can develop these countries. And then I've always thought this, if you develop, for example, Cuba, which is 90 miles from the United States, I think a lot of people would go back at least half the time. The older people, younger people would develop stronger ties, and you would kind of solve this tension because people would be like, "Oh, this is a cool place to go. Maybe I will go back. I have my citizenship. I'll go back 70% of the time, 30% in the U.S. for medical care, and maybe to make some money." And over time, it kind of sorts itself out. What would you say to that, J Boss?
So I will answer you first, and then I will answer the caller. I have it all written down here. So yes, we can do that. Also, we have already done that. For instance, Portugal, when Portugal gave up Angola as a colony, Angola was more well-developed than Portugal. It had better hospitals. It had better doctors because all the doctors had gone there. And it had a better infrastructure overall that time that we left it. And so yes, we can do that. We have done it before. We have the receipts to show that we can do it. Then for halfway point between you and the caller, and then I'll go to his point. It's we can definitely do this and get rid of all of these people, and it doesn't matter that they support us, that it's a second generation, blah blah blah. We have done this before. Portugal has gotten rid of all of the I'm not even going to call them Muslims because, and it's not just because of, I don't care about political correctness, but it's because I want to focus on the Persians who were there, the people who were actually bringing civilization again, the Greco-Roman knowledge. So I'm, in a very real sense, complimenting them. These more advanced Persians than anyone in Europe at the time that brought richness to both Spain and Portugal. So it's a much more steel-manned scenario than the current immigrants in Europe that now I'm putting forth. Portugal and Spain kicked out those most advanced people in Europe, those Persians who were actually contributing to richness in Portugal and in Spain, and then making those countries become a focus of learning and knowledge in Europe. Nevertheless, Portuguese and Spaniards kicked them out. And so much more, therefore, are we equipped to kick out all of these immigrants who are actually not contributing anything. So not only can we do that, we have done it before with people who were actually contributing much more. And then to finally go to the caller's point, he's saying, oh, we must talk about what it's in the realm of possibility. Well, that's just not a metaphor, but a euphemism for we must act within the current paradigm. But Overton windows can be pushed. They are being pushed. And if you're not paying attention, you're just going to be swept by the tide. And desperate people, the youth of the next generation, are not going to care about, but the realm of possibility. They're going to be desperate. They don't care about the current paradigm. They're going to yield whatever clubs they find, and they're going to make sure that the elderly are going to fall in line. They don't hold any power.
Caller, do you think that desperation will drive young people to taking power like that in spite of what you said, what he said, the intelligence agencies and the military and all that?
Well, the question here is that when I said in the realm of possibility, It's looking at the architecture as is, right? And I don't think J Boss is calling for a revolution, an overthrow in parliament. And if you're not doing that, electoral politics are not going to remove the judges, are not going to remove the bureaucrats, is not going to change the global economy. So this is sort of suggesting some halfway point between taking out the state, but doing all the extra legal things that the state doesn't like. And I don't know how you can bridge those two things. If the call is, let's, start a revolution, we march the parliament, we hang the king, we put sandbags outside, and then after that we can do whatever we want. All the possibilities open up to you. But those possibilities are not on the table when there's NATO, the EU, the military, the intelligence, the courts, and I can go on and on and on. And that's sort of what I mean by in the realms of possibilities, that the architecture cannot even be changed by law, to be honest. You would require some type of a supermajority to do this. And I put it back to you. We are in the middle of democracy. The liberals exist, the leftists exist, the women exist, the immigrants exist, and the boomers exist. And that coalition is bigger than the other side. How do you plan to win elections with just young people? I don't think that works. It's not a big enough coalition. And even if it's a big enough coalition, it's going to do what Trump did. It's 51%. It's not 70% supermajority that allows you to change the entire framework.
J-Boss, did you catch that?
Yes, I did. It's very easy to answer. All those things don't actually exist. They're just a bunch of treaties and international laws, ink on paper. What actually exists in real life, kinetically, is localism, which is why it was such a dirty word. I don't know if people remember. Some 10 or 15 years ago, it was very dirty. Now, all of a sudden, I can say the word localism, and it's fine. Nobody has a problem with it. But this is why it's so powerful. All that exists is just local action. And you're saying as if everything needs to change in terms of a countrywide change. Nothing of the sort. All you do is you say, okay, this city is not going to do this anymore, and then this becomes contagious, and then all the cities decide exactly the same thing, and now all of his dreams of, but the state, but the country, but NATO, but the EU, and blah blah blah, none of that exists. It's just a bunch of old people sitting in chairs writing ink on paper. It does not exist.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone propose what you're proposing, J-Boss. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, because I don't know, caller, you were able to hear that, but he is kind of proposing a halfway point, which is not extra legal. It is legal, and it's based on like a Girardian mimetic thing, as opposed to calling for something that's, a violent or like a revolutionary. That is an interesting model. What would you say to that, caller?
I have never seen a bottoms-up phenomenon in my entire lifetime, and I have actually looked into this. Every single constitution has in it provisions where the central government can come, completely suspend any local jurisdiction power and so forth. And they will, if you go down this road. They have proven it many, many times. They're even about to remove AFDB now from any lists by using not necessarily the central government, but there's a second layer between all the different federal states in Germany that they can by themselves remove the AFDB. So my point is, these systems cannot be overrun with like little small tricks. They've been put together over 100 years by people way smarter than all of us. And you either go through the system or you overthrow it. That's sort of how I see it.
Okay. J-Boss, what do you think about that?
So not only can it be done, it will be done. It doesn't matter that people way smarter than us, as he puts it, concocted these things. They just are still ink on paper. And when he says, but the state can just make sure that to move its peons against these people, well, the peons that the state is going to have to hire to move against the local peoples, they live somewhere. And so they're going to also be shunned if they end up doing that. They're not going to be able to do commerce. From what grocery stores are they going to buy their food and so on? Because those people are going to be siding with the localists. And so unless you're going to have a state revolution where now China is instated, basically, in the West, and they have their own grocery stores separate from the rest of the billion people that they have there, unless you're going to suggest that that's what Europe is going to turn into, well, the peons and the police and the military and the extra military force that the state is going to have to use is going to have to live somewhere. And if they end up doing those actions for the state and against the local people, they're not going to be able to continue living where they live. It's just not going to happen. Everything is
Boss,
local in the end.
I would disagree with you there. I know that you know that I don't have a very positive view of the police, and I don't think that those people are animals, man. The police is just I wouldn't call them brother people who work for, and I these people are not, they don't give a shit. They're thugs at the end of the day. They're jackbooted thugs. Any of these people, listen, not to out libertarian you here, but these people are thugs, man. They don't give a fuck. They will fuck you up. They don't care. They will steal from your store. They will rob you. And maybe that's more of a third world perspective, but I'm like, you're going to shun the cops out of it? Dude, I haven't seen it, but I've seen the stories of what cops will do to people for food in Venezuela and stuff like that. They will fuck you up. They don't give a shit.
They can outnumber the locals unless we're back to feudalism and everyone that is under the state in a given city or town is immediately recruitable to be a police officer. So unless you have whole cities of police living in there, they cannot actually outnumber the locals. So it doesn't matter how animalistic they are, they eventually need to live in a house near other houses, and the locals are always going to outnumber.
Isn't power maintained through an elite few always? I mean, I guess, isn't that basically, it goes back to knighthood, right? I mean, I'm sure in North Korea, a small percentage of the population with the guns, and they control everyone else.
Well, they have different ethnic characteristics to them, but why did feudalism end in Europe, for instance? Because what you're saying is not true for us.
Okay. Caller, do you have a response to that? J Boss is saying that the Europeans in themselves can do this through, what do you call this? Like sort of like a shunning, shaming type of situation where
it's localism. Yeah, go ahead. It's localism where they can shun the powers that are being put there by the state, and unless they completely overwhelm them, in which case you're going to end up with a city that is just full of cops. Those people are going to work. Go ahead.
One second, caller. 1 second. All right, J Boss. I heard you there. What do you have to say about that, caller?
Well, the reply to that is that we're talking about liberal people raised on individual liberty, freedom, maximum stuff. And maybe I don't have the data. If 70% of people in Portugal, in Holland, in Germany have had enough, potentially you had a path. But I don't think it's more than 30% of people who had enough, to be honest. And we can see that every time in the electoral politics, in the polling, and all of that issue. So how would shunning work if, let's say I'm here, I don't like the immigrants at my store, you're not welcome in here, Nigerian man. And then my buddy down the street is selling the stuff. The Nigerian hasn't lost anything. He's still able to do what he wants. And I'm going to get a visit by some, civil rights department within the government to say that you're causing X, Y, Z. And they don't have to arrest me. They just have to bankrupt me with a lawsuit.
That's J Boss. What would you say to that? It's true. How many people have had enough? And do you think it's just not seen, or do you think that it's more people than we actually know? What would be your data point there? If you don't have one, it's fine. I'm not an autist, but just thinking, how many people have had enough? Because it is true. We have to be a majority, right?
Of course, yes, and it's a great point that he's making, and I always like to make my arguments by granting my opposition their arguments, and so because I think he eventually agrees with me, let me just grant to him that we're nowhere near that point. Well, if things continue the way they are and people grow more and more unsatisfied, we're going to get to that point eventually, and he just granted to me at the beginning of his round there that maybe we're not at 70%, but if we are at 70%, there's a path. Well, then I'll grant his point. Maybe we are at 1%, but then what I'm saying is not that now it's going to happen. What I'm saying is eventually we are going to get to the threshold, whether it's 60%, 70%, 80%, we're going to get there. And once we get there, it's going to be fixed. History is a pendulum, and everything shall pass. What isn't that this too shall pass? And so it's unavoidable. Things cannot be held on statically in a dynamic world. We're going to get to that point. People are not going to miraculously become satisfied with the way things are. It's only going to move one way. Eventually, we're going to get to the 7%. And then once we get it, it's going to be solved. That's all I'm saying. And so he agrees with me.
So you would not get in the way. You would say more win, J-Boss. You'd say infinity Africans, infinity Asians, infinity everyone to Portugal now to force the issue?
If that's what it takes, yes.
Caller, what do you think of that? I haven't heard anyone say that. Like, a true accelerationist here. Admirable position. A real more winder.
I guess things can always get bad enough that change can arrive. But just to reiterate a point with you, King Leo, is that I can tell you're one of these people who have been watching, race and immigration for a long time before it became fashionable after 2020. And I've been looking at this since 2004. And part of the reason why I'm even saying half of the stuff I'm saying is that I've watched the progression of the situation. I've seen 100 LARPers come and go. And I can see now that the structure is too big. The structure is so big that it's forcing the American president to get on his knee and beg a deal with Iran. That is the supreme, super galactic, intergalactic, like the film network structure of the world. And if it can bring an American president to his knees and beg a deal with the Iranians at a very terrible, I guess, exit, what can a country, an independent mayor, essentially the structure is too big and you have to kind of work within it. And I guess my position is that either things get so bad that people will want a revolution and destroy everything. And believe me, you will regret that, because anybody who has seen his country get into this situation will tell you the same. Or the alternative is that we kind of, as you said, we find a way to have some people move on. You try and integrate, you assert your values. If a Portuguese Angolan man wants to go and start a business, we'll say, here you go, here's some money, thank you. Go start it over there. We love you from afar. But essentially, it has to be some kind of an intellectual thing. And then the final thing that I would add here is that at a higher level, at a philosophical level, the world started tribal, 150 people going around killing whoever wasn't like them. And in fact, it took white civilization to bring people out of that tribalism. And it's a shame that we're returning to that, because essentially we've evolved from that. We're supposed to evolve to the next phase, not return 3,000 years to the Bronze Age.
All right. Caller, I'm sorry to cut you off here, but J Boss is going to respond because we're super over time. And this has been cool. I want to see how I can get you guys to hear each other. That's more convenient. J Boss, what would you say to that?
So first, I want to eventually, King Leo, I'd like to get your take on what do you think of this, that we're actually agreeing here. I don't know that you would expect that we're actually agreeing, but I completely agree with the other caller. And there is an intellectual path. That's the path that we're going to take. We're no longer animalistic. It is going to be something of a mutual help. There's going to be love all around in the end, and people are going to go back to their places, because that's what everyone wants on every side. And so nobody wants violence. We all want to live next to our family. We all want to live next to our country, which is dear to our heart, in our country, which is dear to our heart. And so that is what is going to end up happening. I completely agree with the caller. And I just don't think the last thing he said, that there's a parallel with the Iraq-Iran situation. This is an entirely different web of influences and also incentives that cannot really be compared with a country and the problems that we're having with immigration. But outside of that, I completely agree with him. We're going to reach a threshold point, and then things are going to be solved peacefully and intellectually, for sure. That's my bet. I'm not advocating for any kind of violent uprisal whatsoever. I'm just going to predict that it's going to be the opposite of that. It's going to be a peaceful, intellectual resolution to the problem, and all sides are going to be satisfied.
Okay, so Rodney King took over J Boss there. We can all get along. It's kind of like two more wind accelerationist John Lennons we have here. I understand I understand what you're saying, where you guys do agree, even though the solutions seem a little different. I still don't like this fucking movie being promoted, because I know some crazy guy's gonna go out there, and I know. Look, man, J Boss, I'm Hispanic, dude. When I saw that white kid shoot up the Walmart and kill the Mexicans, that's the day that I said, okay, I'm not happy with this going on here. And seeing this movie, I'm like, all right, this is not a good time. So
that's when you said no mas.
That's when I said no mas. Absolutely. All right. I appreciate both of you guys. We're super over time. Thank you, caller. Thank you, J Boss.
Let me thank the caller. Thank you so much, caller, for engaging. Next time we'll do this in a more real time. I really appreciated the arguments. I think they were all in good faith, and I hope that he took my arguments in good faith as well, and he understood them. And King Leo, thank you so much for letting me into the show, and giving me time to speak, and I appreciate that very much. And I also want to give a hello to the chat, everyone that talks to me there. I love everybody. And so thank you so much once again. I love the show. I love you, King.
Appreciate you, sir. And caller, J Boss says you came in good faith and that you were honest and everything, and that he appreciates this. And I agree. I'm sorry about that, guys. I need to figure out how to make it so that people can hear each other. Appreciate both of you.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Interesting times. If you guys want to watch the good version of this movie, put on Death Wish, put on Dirty Harry. But it's always great to hear two John Lennon accelerationists talk there and get autistic and fight about their solution. It's very, very interesting. I'm glad to see that no one here is a LARPer, like these Adam Waffen idiots, or those other people that were trying to like attack the pipelines. I don't like any of that stuff, man. You don't want that kind of situation. I'm telling you, man, it's ugly. If you want, you can fly to Venezuela. You can see how fucked up that shit is. It's messed up. All right. We're out of here. I'm going to figure this out so people can talk in real time, fight each other, yell at each other. And yeah, I think that this is and to be bold here, this is the only show on the internet where we're all buddies. We're all buddies. We all get along, even if we disagree. Grand old time. All right, everyone. With that, we went super overtime. I appreciate everyone tuning in today. Robert, Eves, J Boss, CCTV, Full Hat, who didn't call in. I hate everything. And tomorrow I will see you guys because I got to catch us up with James Fishback. I really wanted to talk about that, but unfortunately we cannot talk about that. We turn off this and this. What do you guys think? Are you going to watch Citizen Vigilante? It's not very good, to be honest, man. It's not very good, but Armie Hammer, I love that guy, dude. He was so good in The Social Network. Great actor. It's a shame what happened to him. Kevin Spacey, man. Even I'm a Kevin Spacey defender myself, man. And there's some people, Roman Polanski. Woody Allen, I will not defend because Woody Allen is a weirdo, and also I don't like his movies. So with that, everyone, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you, CCTV, J Boss, everyone that stuck around till the end. See you guys tomorrow. Check out the new video. Let me do some plugs real quick. Check out the new video on the channel where I talked about the DSA, inspired by Mr. I Hate Everything himself. One of the goats here, okay? One of the goats. Oh, hang on. That's not this one here, which talks about the DSA. Zohran Mamdani, the ruthless political savior they can't stop. Check this out. Give it a like, give it a comment, give it a subscribe. And also be sure to check out our new video on Alex the Mechanic's channel. Let me just pull this up here, which I can't wait to see. I feel like Oppenheimer when I put these videos out, man, which is how Trayvon Martin ruined America, which is insane statement. It is crazy. So follow him on Facebook, follow him on Instagram. He's the biggest on Instagram right now. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you guys for calling in. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world.